you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Okay, I did a little test while we were listening to that. Let me know, did that intro music stop playing at the end there when she was looking out the window? Did anybody notice that? I'm trying to boost the volume for this interview that we're about to listen to, so I just was trying to make sure. I am so happy to be here with you guys. You know, what we're going to talk about is not happy at all, but I've missed you guys. It's been a while. Like, during the week, my morning lives got thrown off because Bentley was sick and we were at urgent care and all the things. And then yesterday we had to go a couple hours away for football, and it's just been a really busy, chaotic couple days. So I'm just happy to be able to step back with you guys and kind of just, talk about the things that interest us and get your thoughts and get my thoughts. I'll be honest with you guys. So I tried to listen to this twice. When Grizzly was playing it, and then also here, because like when I pull it up, I think I got 6 minutes in. Most of this I'll be listening to the first time with you guys. I just got home like an hour and a half ago, and so I just really haven't had the time. But I think that's good because we'll have more of a genuine reaction. Not that that's important anyways, but let me say hello to you guys, and we will get started. Hey, Pointer Lover. Hey, B Crumbs. By the way, thank you, B Crumbs, for obtaining this audio for us. Hey, Mayla's mom. What the heck is that? Did y'all hear that? I'm sorry, you guys. Hey, Teacup. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Wee Gob. Hey, Claus. Hey, Jennifer. Thank you guys for being here. Both Kathy's, Wee Gob. Hey, Bogart. Hey, Roro. My Tess. Good to see you. Hey, Edith. Nurse Kristen. I was too busy dancing along. It did? Okay, so the volume booster must be working because I used it and turned it all the way down during that part. So hopefully we can make this louder, because on some parts I think that it's pretty quiet, according to B Crumbs. Hey, Jen. Jen, you remind me, every time I see your name, I know I've told you this before in the comments, it reminds me of my best friend who passed away a few years ago. We have been best friends since 9th grade, and her name was Jenn, but she was Asian, and all of her family called her Jenn. And so I started calling her that, and I just thought it was really cute, and that reminds me of her. So it's super sweet. Hey, Lady V. All right, you guys. So, hey, MK. Hey, Lil Red, who's also got us tons of stuff on this case, and I thank you as well. Thank you so much. Hey, Roxanne, Alicia, good to see you. Rocco, Debbie, we just got on. I was just saying hello. We started like 5 minutes ago, but we have not started the audio yet. So let me turn the volume booster back up, because I've got it on this window and the window we're going to be sharing for the interview. Okay, and then like I said, I had made it like few minutes in, barely. Now let me turn the volume booster back up on this one. Hold on. Okay, it's up, and so is on StreamYard. So hopefully it's loud enough. You guys let me know. I know there's other creators who have played it, and I don't know how loud they were able to get it. So if you can't hear it, we could always, try to listen there. But let's try this first. Hey, Trulia. Okay, so this interview is with Jennifer Soto, and it took place April 18th, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty certain it was like April 18th. We know that that was almost 2 months after what happened to Maddie. That was on the 26th of February. Stephan was arrested the 28th at midnight. And then she did a couple interviews right before that. When we were going through the documents they've released, we saw that she came in April with an attorney. So I wanted to listen with all of you. Yay. Hey, Foxy. I'm so happy to see you. Edith says, can I please get some prayers for my stepmom? She's 80 and been in the hospital for 2 months and not doing good. Oh, I'm sorry, Edith. Yeah, all of you guys send love, support, prayers, good vibes. He'd been arrested. Okay. When was that date? Was that March 1st? Because I don't know this when he was charged with that. And Bendy, good to see you. Happy Saturday, Lisa. Okay, so hey, hippie chick. And there was one other person. Hey, Steph. Deb, a few people I wanted to say hello to. I've heard some of this interview. While it's a hard thing to hear, it does explain some things. Well, Jen and I were talking about this the other day, and I feel like you know, I've had every opinion on this. My opinion is slowly changing and evolving because we've gotten so much information now. Part of me truly believes she didn't know. I don't think that that makes her innocent by any means. I think that she's still obviously negligent, but I do believe that um, she has some serious mental health issues, and I think Jen's focus is on Jen and her mental health. Hey, Music City Mom. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Mo. Hey, Queen Bella. Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. All right. Let me know how it sounds. And
24. I am William J. I am the division chief for the homicide unit. With me is Danielle Pinnell, also from the homicide unit in Kissimmee. Can the detectives identify themselves?
Detective Mark Morris.
Detective Kyle Smallwood. And with us is
Jennifer Soto.
With your attorney, Matthew Spark. All right. We went over some things before we went on the record and told you the.
I'm not going to pause a ton. I'm going to try, but I am curious to know more about this attorney, what he's, if there's anything he does more than others. You know, some attorneys are more specific with clients they take, some aren't. Jen's focus is herself and her naps, Teacup says. I'm kind of nervous because I haven't heard this. Well, I'm right there with you. I've heard like 6, 7 minutes, up to 7 minutes, and a couple of clips from other channels. How could she not know when she said the sex stuff wasn't evil? I don't know. See, I don't know. That's what I've had every opinion. It changes depending on what evidence comes out. You know, as far as that goes, I don't really know how to feel about it. You guys let me know what you think about that. She did say, you know, that stuff isn't evil, but him taking her life was. That's not the exact quote verbatim, but yeah, hey, get me a snack. All right. Does it sound okay, you guys?
The opportunity to ask any questions that you need to ask. If you need a break to consult with your attorney, that is absolutely fine. We'll all step out of the room, turn off the reporters, and let you exercise your constitutional right to have counsel. There's no problem with that. There's water fountains here. There's restrooms. I don't know if you're a smoker or not, but like if you get desperate, we can make an outside break time, but we are kind of under time constraints. With that all said, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is an investigative subpoena, so you've been compelled to be here. And in our country, under the 5th Amendment and 14th Amendment as applied to you under the Florida Constitution as well, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself. So anything.
So she was subpoenaed. She had to be there. She finally showed up with an attorney. Now, I don't like that when, like, I would just expect to see that if something happened to your child like this, that you would do anything and everything to work with police, be there anytime they needed you, day in, day out, that kind of thing. That's just me. But we have to keep in mind, and this is something that I see all the time with true crime, not everyone's the same. Just like old Jen, the other, you know, your conversation with old Nana, well, I would be looking. Well, I would want to, but I don't know if I could. Well, we're not all the same. Everybody is different. Everybody handles situations differently, and we do have to keep that in mind. Okay, sorry, you guys. We did pause at 111, though.
You say today can't and won't be used against you unless you just don't tell us the truth. And I've already explained to your attorney, Mr. Bark, whether or not you've made any inconsistent statements in the past, that is dirt under the bridge, and either a misdemeanor was committed or it wasn't. But we're not going to be using that as a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements.
Oh, wait a minute.
Those other charges wouldn't be.
Let's see. So this sounds like a proffer.
Those other
I can't get back to it right now.
So the most important thing today is to tell the truth. I also explained derivative use immunity, which means if you said that there was a gun, and obviously there's no gun in this case, buried in your attorney jar, we couldn't go dig up that gun if you told us that, oh yeah, the gun that was used is right there. We wouldn't be able to do that. We would have to show that we learned all those things independently from this interview. Okay? Do you have any questions? All right, so let's get started.
Before you start, let me just make sure we're clear on the record. Off the record, we had discussed our position on the concerns we have. Ms. Soto was interrogated by law enforcement previously. She was under a tremendous amount of duress and stress, being that her child was missing and then she was informed was found deceased. There's been media hysteria about this. There's been people asking for her to be prosecuted, tarred, feathered, executed. And so with that said, we have the concern that you brought up.
There is no excuse for being dishonest with police in a situation when your child is missing. That's just how I feel. Now, many people have talked about this immunity or a proffer. Dirt under the bridge. Damn right, she's getting a proffer. It is a proffer, Allie, so she has immunity. So she doesn't have full immunity. So basically what they're saying is, anything you tell me in this, as long as you're honest, you won't be charged. But if you lie, you can. Now, this is just regarding this interview. So let's say there was information that they came to outside of this interview, like evidence in her phone, evidence in Stephan's phone, whatever. She could still be charged. I think it's just specifically about the information that she gives here and that she's honest. Now, I don't know how I feel about it.
About if there's something said inconsistent today, not being used against her for filing a false police report.
Right, so for example, if she said something that was false then, and we have no idea that it was false now before this interview, but she comes in and admits that it was false today, we can't use these statements or that admission that it was false against her, just like we couldn't use anything else against her from this interview. Okay. All right. My understanding is that on February 25th of this year, you were working at the hotel on Disney property out at Coronado Springs. You have to answer out loud and loud enough to get caught on the record. I know you're upset. I know.
Yes.
All right. And did you get off at 10 p.m.?
Yes.
All right. You go directly home?
Yes.
About how long does it take you to get home?
About 25 to 30 minutes.
And when you get home, who is downstairs, if anybody? You have a two-story, is it a townhome? Is that the best word for it?
Yeah, it's a townhome.
If anybody is downstairs, who is downstairs?
I saw my daughter Madeline and Stephan.
Do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
No.
And do you recall what Stephan was wearing?
I can't tell you. No.
When you get home from work, do you need to kind of eat a late dinner before you get settled in for bed?
Yes.
And do you eat there at your home?
Yes.
What do you eat?
I think I had a pub sub waiting for me in the house, a sandwich.
Okay. Did anybody join you in sitting down and eating?
No, I ate in my bedroom.
Okay. Did it look like anybody else had recently cooked food or eaten any food there that night?
From what I saw, no, I didn't see anyone cooking, or it didn't look like anyone had been cooking.
Okay. I believe in one of your former interviews, you mentioned that Madeline might have gone over with you kind of what she got at the birthday party since you didn't have the chance to go because you were at work. Mm-hmm. When and where does that occur?
That occurs like right after I get home. It occurs in my bedroom. Everyone's in my room.
And so by everyone, let's just be clear, since I understand you have some roommates. So what do you mean by everyone?
Madeline, Stephan, and myself were in my bedroom.
Okay. At this point in time, do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
I don't know.
Let me ask it a different way. Can you tell me whether or not she was wearing a long-sleeved green sweatshirt and jeans?
Oh, no.
Okay. Would she have kind of been in her bed gear, or do you think she could have still been in the dress that she wore to her birthday celebration?
She would have been in pajamas. I can't recall the exact pajamas, but she would have been in pajamas. She had already, by this point in the evening, she had already showered and changed out of that birthday dress.
And was it your understanding from your sister that she had gotten dropped off about 8:30, she being Madeline?
8:30, 8:45, something around that time, yeah.
What's your understanding as to when Stephan had gotten there? If you know, if you don't guess, it's fine.
Actually, while he's saying that, this is important. So there's things that you might think should be a certain way because that's just the way things go. But don't just guess based on past history that it's the same as what happened on that particular day. If you don't know, you don't know.
Then yeah, I'm not sure exactly what time he got there.
Okay. You were at work, so I just didn't know if, like, sometimes families check in, hey, I made it, by text or by phone call or anything like that. You do not remember anything?
I don't remember.
Okay. How long were the three of you in your bedroom?
I'm gonna say for about 30 minutes.
She was so beautiful, you guys.
And did Madeline tell you about the party?
She was really happy.
Did she tell you what food they had there at the
She
party?
was really happy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She said she was really happy. I'm trying not to pause it. I was actually trying to upload some photos of Maddie on the overlays so that we could, have them up while we talk about it. All right, let's keep listening.
She had her favorites.
What are her favorites?
Puerto Rican food. So arroz con gandules.
All right, so you're gonna have to translate to English. I know frijoles and arroz and a couple other things, but help me out.
If I recall correctly, she had requested
Wow.
rice. It's a type of rice and beans.
Mhm.
It's rice with pigeon peas.
Okay.
And pernil, which is, I'm not sure how to. It's a pork, but I'm not sure how they cook it.
Okay.
So cooked pork. That's typically what she requests for her parties. That's like her favorite meal.
Okay. And what kind of gifts did she get?
She got a lot of money.
Okay.
That's what she ended up showing me. I think she had a few trinkets.
That's
but, like,
interesting.
most of it was just a big wad of money that she was so excited for.
She got a lot of money. So I've been thinking, what led up to this, right? Because we know Stephan's parents came out and said he was very anxious the day before this. He was asking for anxiety medicine. He wasn't himself. Every little detail just, I don't know. I feel like more and more makes sense, but I really want to know why. What happened? How did this go from a horrible, awful, disgusting, awful situation to even worse, if that's possible? But it did. We know it did. But it's interesting.
Is there any particular reason Stephan couldn't make it up to the party? Because it's my understanding he didn't exactly work or anything.
Yeah, right. Pointer 11.
He wouldn't have been invited. The party was held at my mom's house, and my mom and him have never had a great relationship. She's never.
Who was that, Jen?
So he wouldn't have been invited to the party at all. It just would have been my whole family.
Instincts.
And then me, if I hadn't worked, I would have been there.
Okay. Now, during this 30 minutes that the three of you are in your bedroom, is Madeline engaging in any of her kind of nighttime routine or, getting ready for bed? What else is going on, if anything?
Hey, Julie. No E.
We spent a long time talking about gifts and having her show me, and then we counted out her money. I can't remember if she had finished with all of her bedtime routine.
Okay. Does she brush her teeth at night?
In the shower.
In the shower? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that occurred before you got home?
Yeah.
And my understanding with her nighttime medication is that's something that you would like to make sure she had bedtime or so?
Something like that, yeah.
So were you present for that occurring, or did that occur after you got home?
That did not occur on my call.
Right. That did not occur on my call. Okay, Jen. You guys, we're only 10 minutes in. It's like a little over an hour long. I think an hour and 9 minutes. So we have a ways to go. I was going to go as long as we could until 9 because Jenn was going to go live. She's not going to do that tonight. I'm still going to share her link. So maybe she will do the live she was planning tomorrow, but we'll be here, as long as it takes. Hey, old snap ginger. He was called to the house for a reason, and it wasn't to babysit, KPM says. Wow, if your mom didn't trust him. Exactly. So it wasn't on my call. Okay, let's keep listening.
I believe
Maddie.
I had instructed Maddie when she got home to go ahead and take them herself.
Okay. And is that something that she's allowed to do?
From time to time, yeah.
When you say day, is there what my understanding was there was some hydroxyzine? Is there anything else she takes at night?
Just hydroxyzine.
All right. And the Miralax is when?
Miralax is
Little Red. It is odd, but
So that would have been earlier while you were at work too if she took it?
Oh, yeah.
May not have.
It is odd, but I have heard of a person or two that does brush their teeth in the shower. But there are redactions in this interview, so it might cut out like it just did. That's just the redactions.
Because she was at the party?
Yeah, because I had been training at work that week and we had been going back and forth with my mom's a lot. The Miralax wasn't consistent.
Okay. All right. Now, Madeline, does she lay out her clothes for school the next day, or is that something she gets in the morning, makes a game time decision like my kid?
Typically, it is a game time decision morning of.
Okay. What about this specific evening? Do you remember anything about it?
Yes. This evening, we had, I had already discussed prior to Stephan coming to visit that he was going to help me take Maddie to school that day.
Hey, Tony.
So because I knew that that was what was going to happen that night, I had asked Maddie, pick out your clothes, have everything ready, have your backpack ready, your water bottle, everything you need ready so that way you could just grab your stuff and head out. It won't be too much of a hassle in the morning. And so she did. She picked out her clothing. I asked her what she was wearing, and she told me what she had picked out. I said, okay, fine.
All right, so she picks it out, but does she physically take it out of somewhere, wherever she stores her clothes, and put it somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she took that clothes upstairs with her or anything like that.
All right. So as far you didn't see them in your room, and did you have the opportunity to kind of see her cubby part of the living room to see if she had put them on her bed or anything like that?
I hadn't seen them.
Does Madeline have like a water bottle or a hydro flask or whatever the kids call it that she likes to sleep with and bring up or bring wherever she's sleeping?
Typically not. That stays downstairs in her backpack, and then she'll clean it in the morning and then fill it back up and leave it in her backpack. That typically stays in the backpack.
Okay. Favorite stuffed animal or stuffed animals? Anything that always goes with her wherever she's sleeping?
She does have a few stuffies and blankies.
Stuffies. This child had stuffies. I'm sorry. I'm really trying not to interrupt. I'm just angry. This case like brings out the anger in me.
Did I see any that day?
Yeah, specifically, did you see if she brought any of that stuff upstairs with her?
No, I didn't see any of that stuff upstairs.
Now, separate question. Generally, habitually, like your attorney was saying, there's a difference between specific memory. But generally, would she do that? Not saying that you saw it that night.
Generally, would she do what?
Have stuffies and blankets and her favorite stuff.
Yes, she typically would.
So
I just want to say, says, I have a wet room and the kids brush their teeth in the shower. I don't think it's too strange. As long as they brush them, it's fine. Right. So strange was probably not the best word. Maybe unique. I think that, it's more unique, but hey, I'm with you. As long as they brush them, whatever. Hey, Meg. Okay. Good to see you.
Stephan says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in. Would that, to you, mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that would mean, if you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you recall getting that text from Stephan that night that Maddie had settled into her nest for the night? Okay.
Wow.
My understanding was that at some point you told them it was time to go to bed.
How? How
Do
do
you
you,
recall about what time that was?
Around 11 o'clock.
I'm so sorry, but how do you not remember? Okay, maybe if it was a regular day, but since what happened, how could you not go back and look at everything? How could you not go back and look at, hey, what time did he text me that she was in bed? Did he text me that she was in bed? How can you? I don't know, you guys. It doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
So that's consistent with getting home at 10:30, having this half-hour discussion and eating your pub sub? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Do they comply with your wishes to go upstairs when you say that at about 11 o'clock?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Is there any further communication between either you and Madeline or you and Stephan about, all right, kids, it's time to go to bed, anything like that? Or was that the last you had heard from either one of them that night?
I think at some point Stephan comes downstairs to use the restroom and then goes back upstairs, but after that, I don't recall interacting or saying anything. So.
Okay. And my understanding is that you had some sort of parental controls over Maddie's phone. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure by parental controls exactly. I didn't have any limits or anything on the phone set up.
Well, like, for instance, if she wanted to install Game Pigeon, does that have to go through you?
Yeah. So any permission
Didn't have any limits.
for any apps,
What?
we would have to ask.
Okay.
All right, and does that ring a bell as to occurring that Sunday?
You poor Linda.
Game Pigeon?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right, so that's the last time you hear from either one of them until the morning. My understanding is that Stephan comes down and is dealing with your dog. Is there any communication other than perhaps Stephan coming down to use the restroom? Is there any other communication that you have between Stephan and Maddie? Do you see them? Now, I've said communicate. Do you see them? Do you go up and check on them? Do you see Madeline or Stephan from the point you kick them out at 11 p.m. until you see Stephan at 8 in the morning-ish is what you guess for the dog?
No, I didn't see them.
Okay. Now, when you go to sleep, do you sleep through the night, or do you wake up and not have consistent good sleep?
I sleep through the night.
Okay.
Thought the same thing.
So there wouldn't be any points in time where you get up and you're taking.
Must be nice to sleep through the night. Then how'd you know he went downstairs? I have a friend who's a shower brusher. It's funny, teacup. Okay, but yeah, that doesn't really make sense either. But all right, not a big deal. We'll keep going.
In steps or just checking on your phone because you can't go back
Yes,
to
they
sleep.
do, crazy
As far
mom.
as you remember, when you go to sleep, you're out until the dog thing in the morning. Did you hear or see anything during those hours involving Stephan or Madeline?
I didn't hear or see anything.
All right. What's the first thing you remember when you wake up after having gone to sleep?
I wake up to Stephan trying to put the leash on the dog.
Okay. Now, is this the first time that you've ever woken up to Stephan trying to put a leash on your dog, or is that something that has occurred before in the past?
I'm going to say this is the first time. It's not normal for any of us to put the leash on the dog on the bed, because if he's on top of any like bed, couch, anything, he'll pee. He gets really nervous. You have to do it on the floor. So I found it really weird that he did that. But
all right, so let me ask it a little more broadly. Is this the first time Stephan's ever come into your room while you're sleeping to take the dog out for you in the morning?
I can't recall if he said it before.
What?
Okay.
It reminds me of Lil Wayne. Have you guys ever seen Lil Wayne testifying on the stand? And he's like, I don't recall. And they're like, do you remember when you said this or you posted this? And he's like, I don't recall, just over and over. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't know if this is something that has happened before ever. I don't know.
Did you find it unusual then, or what did you think when this is occurring?
When it happened, I think it was more,
Yes, Queen Bella.
I found it off, but I was more worried over the dog. I was like, please don't pee on the bed. I don't want to do laundry.
Okay.
So I was more anxious over that. He put the dog on the leash and told me to lay down and go back to sleep. And I said, okay.
So were you not laying down when he tells you to go back and lay down?
No, when he put the leash on the dog, I shot off the bed because I was going to help him. I was like, no, let me do it. And he's like, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this.
Okay.
And she's just like, okay.
Now, do you go back to sleep, or do you check your phone or do anything?
I think I go back to sleep. I can look at anything.
In this period of time that you have been awoken by
Yeah.
Stephan,
Agree.
do you hear or see anybody else in your household?
I hear somebody in the kitchen. I'm not sure who it was.
Okay. Could you identify it by size, like their steps? Could you identify gender by their voice? Anything like that?
All I heard was sounds of like cabinets shutting, like somebody in there shutting, like looking for something to shut.
Okay. Now, if your daughter had been awake, would she come in and say goodbye to you before school, or not? Just let you sleep?
Steph, yes, they do. Good point. Steph says they know if she checked her phone or not. They're testing for honesty. No, absolutely, because we read through it in the papers. They knew how long her phone was on charge, when an alarm went off, when she grabbed it off, all of that stuff. So I think you're right.
I would have hoped she would have come by and say goodbye to me.
What?
I can't remember if this is one of the
Hey,
first times
Teresa.
that Stephan actually took her to school, so
Good to see you, T.
I would have hoped she would have said good night, but I'm not sure.
All right. So do you fall back asleep?
I do.
And when do you wake up, and how do you wake up?
I wake up at like 9 o'clock in the morning to my alarm. I wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning to my alarm. I get ready. I think at around 9:30, 9:45, I leave for my doctor's appointment.
Okay. So in this period of time from when you're waking up and getting ready, do you see anybody else in your home?
At this point, I'm not
Okay.
sure. I know throughout the day I've seen my roommate in the kitchen cooking and doing her thing, but I don't recall if it was at this time.
Did you see your daughter this morning on the 26th?
No.
Did you have any texts or?
Now she's very clear. No, she didn't see her. Remember before, which is why she said something different, which is why at the beginning the cop said, any of your last statements, that's irrelevant. Don't worry about it. It's dirt under the whatever the hell they said, basically water under the bridge.
Phone calls or any other type of communication through any possible app on your phone, like, hey mom, love you at school, whatever. Any communications from Madeline?
Anything from her? No.
All right. How about from Stephan by the time that you wake up at 9? Any texts or communication from him? Maddie's dropped. I'm off to the game store or whatever he's doing.
No. I didn't hear back from Stephan until 10:20ish, and he had told me he left his phone at home that whole morning by accident. I had asked him how the morning went, how was Maddie, and he let me know that this morning went great.
I'm really curious, and I'm not, like I said, I'm going to try not to pause so much, but remember, in one of Jenn's earliest statements, right after I believe she found out about the photos. She said that when the police went to do the search warrant at her home, her and Stephan were outside in the car, and he was like really anxious. He didn't have his phone. So he started logging into her phone, trying to get into his Google account. He also, just a little side note, he also had went to his parents' house and tried to get into his Google account. He had the 2-step authentication on. He couldn't get in it. Jenn said that they went on to discuss how the police were focusing on the wrong guy. That's a direct quote, the wrong guy, meaning Stephan. So I'm curious when, how do these things not add up to you? Like, for instance, what made me think this, him saying he forgot his phone. Please. I'm sorry, but I just, no. These days that well, wait a minute. Guess who else forgot the phone? Letitia.
Made great time. She got busy super quick. He was going to take her to McDonald's for breakfast, but she changed her mind. All she wanted to do was sleep in the car, so he let her sleep. He took her to school and dropped her off where he said he dropped her off, and that was it.
And you had a 10:15 appointment for a blood draw?
Yes.
And did you go anywhere else prior to getting to your appointment for your blood draw? Did you go directly there or not directly there? That's basically the question.
Oh, I went directly there.
And after your blood draw, did you go directly back home?
Yes.
About what time did you get home?
Sometime between 11:15 and 11:30.
Did you have any other appointments or doctor's appointments later in the day?
I was supposed to have had one, but I canceled it
When did you cancel it?
that same day
Why did you cancel it?
because it was a $350 Botox appointment that I didn't want to spend the money on.
Oh,
Changed my
Botox.
mind last second.
When you get home from your blood draw appointment, is there anybody else at your home?
When I get home from blood draw. Yes, Stephan was home.
All right. And can you describe what he's wearing, what he's doing, his demeanor, what's going on?
Can't recall what he's wearing. It might be a red shirt with a graphic on it.
Okay.
Now
He's
we know that
sitting in my bedroom.
So he was in the camera footage. I just want to say to just to try to line these things up because we've went through so much. Sometimes it can be hard to remember everything. But in the camera footage, when he's dumping the book bag and that stuff, he is in a red shirt. However, when he does the interview with the news and when he speaks to police, he's in a blue shirt. And he claims he didn't shower or change.
On my desk.
Prior to you getting there, he's in your room? Or is that where you guys go to talk?
That he was hanging out there in my room.
Okay.
My room is kind of like the general hangout spot.
Okay.
I walk into my room. He's sitting there on the computer chair. He's talking, acting normal, asking about the morning and how everything went, and that he let me know the errands that he ran that morning or what he was up to.
And what did he say he was up to?
He said he had dropped Maddie off at school and then afterwards went to a vape shop so he can buy vaping things.
Okay.
But that the store wasn't open, so he waited a long time for them to open. They never did. So he drove around, killed time, and then eventually made it back to my house at like 10:20. When later on, when I got home and he was home, we started discussing, or he started telling me that he was going to go back out to run a few more errands in a little bit down 192. And he gave me the name of a few stores that he might stop at. And I'm like, okay.
How was he able
I
to
asked him if
like that?
he wanted to meet me at my house by 2:30 so that we can go pick up Maddie from school together. And he said, yeah, he'll be back by 2:30. And I said, okay.
So was that the plan, to get her together, or was it ever discussed that he would get her alone?
The plan was for us to get her together.
Okay. All right. And so does he leave before you leave?
actually before this, while we were still discussing, while we were having the conversation in my room, he did mention at one point, while he was sitting there, that he had to reboot his phone, or that he had to update his phone. And what was it? He had to update his phone. So I told him, stop avoiding it, do it. Like, it's updates take a while. Like, do it.
So Queen Bella, yes, this is after she knows. So this is April the 18th, almost 2 full months after what happened. And I just want to point something out for people who just came in late. In the beginning, she talks about the text message we saw with her and Stephan, where Stephan says, or the cop asked her where Stephan says she's in her nest, ready to go to sleep. Jenn couldn't even recall or remember that, which, is interesting to me. Now, I know we're not all the same, but you would think you would be going through everything that happened that night, and especially your text with him, your text with Maddie, their text with each other, those kind of things. I would think. That's shocking to me. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Is it Sleuthy? I was wondering that because I don't remember the exact date. I know the first charges were like right after midnight on the 20th. So it was the night of the 28th, but right after midnight. So on the 29th. But I couldn't remember the other one when he was charged with the rest. Hey, Grandma Sherry, did I say hi? I don't know. I meant to, but if I didn't, I'm sorry. If I did, hello twice.
And while he was updating his phone, he said, I don't know what I did, but I just
Thank you, Sleepy.
factory reset my phone. And I said, that's weird. I didn't know that you could do that. He said, yeah, a button popped up and I pressed it and it just reset my entire phone.
Julie says 424, by the way, so you don't go digging for it. Or you can make sure, let us know for sure. But thank you, Julie. All right, so I'm going to mute here. I really want to hear this part. Stephan telling her he factory reset his phone. Let's see what she has to say about that. And then Lisa, so as far as we know so far, she didn't get full immunity. However, she was told that anything she says in this, as long as she's honest, they won't use it against her. Similar to a proffer. I don't know if it actually was a proffer, but sounds like it. Awesome. Thank you, Sleuthy. 424. So just right before. Surely she would have been anticipating him being charged with that as well. Right? Oh, thank you, MK. Thank you so much. Welcome to the new members. Okay, let's keep listening.
And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
So does he leave before you do to go do these errands he was telling you about?
Yes, he does. Leave.
Do you stay at home until it's time to go get Madeline?
Yes.
Do you hear anything from Stephan while he's out doing these errands?
No.
So 2:30 rolls around. Is Stephan back home yet?
No. At this point, I leave.
Do you try and call him or text him or communicate with him?
Yeah, I had been calling him like maybe starting 15 minutes before I was supposed to leave just to see where he was.
Did he answer?
No. I leave at 2:30. Around 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from him. And he said, I'm so sorry. I left my phone at home again on accident.
Left the phone at home again. Okay, Stephan. But we know around that time, actually, I'm going to pull it up so we have the exact timeline while we're listening to this. I wanted to say, Little Red says they had already told her he more than likely killed her child, but had not been charged on the 18th. That reminds me of one of the other interviews, or no, it was in the written statements in one of the police reports where he talks about them talking about that. That Jenn said, actually, that she thinks that that's what happened. I don't remember exactly, so it's not verbatim, but it did come up prior to this.
I was driving down 192 and my tire exploded or shredded, and I had to pull over into one of the plazas and change my tire. He said he hurt his thumb doing that.
Okay.
and that, he was late and didn't make it back on time for that reason.
All right. When you leave to go pick Madeline up at 2:30, do you take her phone with you?
I do.
And how is it that you come to get her phone to go with you?
At some point in the morning, I was organizing and putting things away, and I walked into her bedroom and I saw her phone on her dresser. And I just assumed, oh, she must have left it here while getting dressed and forgot it.
Okay. Was it on?
Yes.
And sometimes when you bump or move phones, the notification screen comes up.
Mhm.
Did you happen to do that? And did you see if there was any incoming notifications that she had missed?
I hadn't seen any.
All right. So you go to school, and due to time constraints, like an NFL football game, we're going to kind of jump ahead a little bit. My understanding is that you want to be first in line,
Mhm.
and you have to get there early to do that. And I understand that.
Yeah.
She doesn't come out.
She doesn't know.
Did you call her phone?
I did.
Why did you do that?
Because I forgot I had it with me. I was like, where is she? Why isn't she out yet? So I start calling her phone, and then I start realizing I'm hearing vibrating, and then I look down and I see her phone's with me. I'm like, oh,
Okay.
How am I going to get a hold of her? Because I'm the first in line. The cars behind me already have children. They're full. They're waiting for me to leave.
It's kind of interesting.
All right. So I'm going to kind
She
of
was
jump
calling
ahead.
her phone,
Did Madeline ever
even though she left it at home.
complain to you about believing that Stephan had taken her Christmas money?
Ooh.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Christmas money went missing. And we were both, I don't even know how to explain this. We had collected all of her envelopes with Christmas money and consolidated into one. I'll put all her money into one.
Yep.
And then I said, I will put this somewhere safe. And I thought I had put it in my nightstand. A few days later comes around, whatever. We start looking for it or asking for it or something like that, and we can't find it. We can't find it at all.
So let me just narrow it down. Did she accuse Stephan?
She said, I don't even know how to say this. That was strange, but let's go to this for just 1 second. I just want to check on the timeline and see around 2:30 when she says that she's at the school. He calls 10 minutes later. He's late, whatever. So we know at hold on. 10:54, 12:44, 12:49, 1 o'clock. 1:15. They tracked him down every street. Look at this. They have exactly what road he was on at 12:49, 12:50, 12:53, 12:59. Thank God this man was caught on camera every step of the way, with her in the vehicle, with putting her in the trunk, and then driving down all of these roads. And they clearly say up here that you can see her in some of those cameras. But let's see at 2:30. So we're at, hold on. I'm going to keep looking while we keep listening. Let me go back to that so you guys don't have to sit here while I try to find that.
Stephan of taking it?
I'm not sure if she did directly. We both had the suspicion, but we're like, no, could he have? No, I don't think so. But I eventually found that money.
Okay. I was just going to have it through history. All right. So you had just started this job at Disney Coronado Springs like a week or two earlier, is that right?
Yes.
And your sister and other family members would help with Maddie getting to school because of your job?
Yes, my mom and my sister, yes.
Okay. Why is it that now Stephan on February 26th is coming up to help as opposed to any of your family members helping getting
Oh, the
Madeline to
overlay.
school?
Okay, sorry, you guys.
I had asked for him to come and help me because I think I was working a lot of night shifts or like really late shifts. And I just wanted the opportunity to see Maddie, like, because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter throughout the week while I was working, versus had she had stayed at my mom's, I wouldn't have seen her all week.
Okay.
So that was just me wanting to see her and spend time with her.
Did Madeline stay at your mom's house fairly frequently?
Every few weekends here and there, like just for the weekend kind of thing.
So like if she described it to her friends as like her second home and like kind of offer up it's better jacuzzi and pool, does that sound like that's the place?
Yes.
Where does Madeline sleep when she's over at your mom's?
She will sleep in bed with my mom.
Okay. Did she ever have sleepovers? Like have friends come over and sleep over?
Slumber parties, no.
Did she ever go and attend any?
No.
Is there any particular reason? I mean, she's a 12-year-old girl on the cusp of being 13.
Yeah, I've been very uncomfortable with sleepovers just because I know what can happen. Anything can happen in a sleepover.
Well, then you can be the host house like we kind of were.
Oh my God, you gotta be shitting me. Okay, so I know I left the overlay up, but I just want to show you something, what we were talking about around 2:30 in the day. So we know here's him from, well, the first time the vehicle is spotted with a spare tire was at 2:11. And then from 2:12 to 2:43, they have him tracked on every street he drove on. And then it says the vehicle is then observed returning through the rear gate of the Venetian Bay apartment complex at 14:43. And at 15:24, the Lincoln returns to the workshop area where the same male again throws some items into the dumpster. He leaves then immediately, returns to the dumpster at 3:28 with more items to throw away. He returns again at 4:36 to throw more items into the dumpster. Okay.
You never hosted any sleepovers for her friends?
For her friends, no.
Did she ask about it?
Yeah, she did ask.
Was it probably a source of contention or arguments?
It was, I guess what was the source of argument is her and she wanted to really sleep over her best friend's house. And I just kept saying, no, you never know what could happen. I don't know the dad. I don't know the brother. I don't know anybody there. Like, I don't know what can happen to you. So, just afraid of her getting assaulted.
Okay. Did Madeline do her own laundry?
Yeah.
Did she cook for herself?
I was teaching her how to make a few things. So, I mean, yeah, she could, I guess.
Okay. What's her normal routine for getting ready for bed?
We give her her meds.
I'm sorry, take your time.
Huh. Some sort of emotion showing here.
We get ready for bed. I'd give her her medication. She would get in the shower.
Take a long shower, I understand.
Like an hour plus. Yeah.
Okay.
She loved it.
She loved it. Oh
She'd
God.
get out. She'd get dressed. She'd let her hair towel dry for a while, and then she would brush it. We would watch some TV. She'd probably have a snack before bed as well.
Okay. What were kind of her nighttime uniforms? I mean, everybody kind of has their pajamas, but they're not necessarily pajamas. What was her routine nightwear?
She really liked wearing shorts. So she had a few pajama outfits, but she really liked wearing shorts and baggy t-shirts.
Okay. How about her routine getting ready for school in the morning? What's that about?
We'd wake up. The alarm would start ringing around 7:30. We'd snooze it up until 8 o'clock.
Vicky, I was thinking the same thing. I just didn't say nothing.
She'd get dressed.
Just imagine.
And then she'd lay back down in bed while she would wait for me to make her breakfast.
So she's a breakfast eater?
Yes.
Okay.
She'd have breakfast. Then she would start, with brushing her hair, brushing her teeth, putting on makeup. I would give her ADHD medications for school.
Is that every day or just school days? So it sounds like you're heading out like 8:45 or 9.
Yes.
And it takes like, what did you say, 15, 20 minutes to get to school?
Yes.
And first bell's 9:38?
9:20.
Something like that?
9:20,
Okay.
yeah.
So on Monday the 26th, 7:30 seems like a really early time to depart to go to middle school, even if you're getting Mickey D's. What was the discussion about when Stephan and Madeline were going to leave on the 26th?
There wasn't one.
So you didn't know anything about these plans, or did you? Or
I knew that they were going to go to McDonald's, but not 7 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't.
okay.
I had assumed like 8 o'clock.
And-
But even then, 8 o'clock is kind of early, like 8:30, because you could just go to McDonald's, be done by 9, and then drop her off at school. Because McDonald's is right the block away from the school. So I
And Madeline's not driving, so she can eat while she's riding.
yeah. So I
And she
don't.
takes about an hour to get ready in the morning?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
So if they were leaving at 7:30, you'd think she'd have to get up at 6:30 to get ready and go through a routine, right?
Yeah, that's extremely early.
And is that what Stephan told you after these events unfolded? Was that they left early, like 7:30? What did he ever tell you?
It was early. I can't remember the time. I think I dropped her off in front of her school sometime between 8:15 and 8:45.
You say I. What do you mean by that? Did you drop her off that
No,
morning?
I'm speaking. Sorry.
Okay.
As what Stephan was telling me. Stephan let me know that he dropped her off
Oh my.
sometime between 8:15 and 8:45 on the road by the church close to her school.
Mhm.
And I remember asking him, why so early? That's too early. School doesn't start until 9:30. Why did you drop her off that early? Oh, I don't know. We just left the house and made good time. I wasn't paying attention to the clock.
Okay. Did Madeline ever have like effects from taking the hydroxyzine in the morning? Like still be kind of sluggish?
Yes.
How often would that occur? Was that like every morning or not every morning?
Not every morning.
She was obviously going through a hard time, considering the counselor was meeting with her monthly to talk about her mental health. She was drawing pictures of crying and, why, and the summertime sadness. She was not showing up to class. She wasn't turning in her work. When she was making D's and F's. Obviously, something is going on. I mean, I do understand she's being treated for anxiety. That's why she has the hydroxyzine. But just hearing him ask her, like, is she sleepy in the mornings? And then knowing what the teachers have said about her sleeping in class and not, I don't know. It's infuriating because there's so many red flags, so many little signs of something is bad wrong here.
If we happen to give her medication later than normal and routine, that would happen. But
Okay. And were there ever any instances where she had taken too
Yep.
much of the medicine? Perhaps you and Stephan had given her medicine, not knowing that the other person had?
yes, that's
How many? Just once or more?
I want to say one.
Were you taking medicinal marijuana in pill form at any point, or THC?
Yes.
And what do those pills or tablets or capsules look like?
They're purple capsules.
Did you ever suspect or confront Stephan about giving those medications to Madeline?
No.
What? So you guys know I only listened to 6 minutes of this. We've been like go, go, go busy nonstop. Okay, let me just keep going. I'll try to jump.
So during this incident where Madeline had been double dosed with hydroxyzine, do you recall any conversation you had with Stephan
Double dosed.
inquiring as to whether or not he had accidentally given her any of your THC?
That hadn't occurred to me. I had asked him
accidentally gave her.
The day that,
Yeah.
the one morning Maddie wouldn't wake up and get ready for school, and she was just out of it. I assumed it was medication related, but I didn't realize, I'm like, did this one medication hit her too hard because we gave it to her late? I called poison control. I needed to see what would happen. Because at this point, I think I had gotten Stephan to admit that he gave her a second dose of the sleeping meds as well, because he thought I had given it to her in the first place.
Okay.
But
I got Stephan to admit, the way she explains that, I got him to admit, and then knowing that he was searching about the medications they use that you can like make somebody huff. I can't remember even what it's called, but it's a medication that they use like in hospitals during surgery, stuff like that. And we actually covered a case during True Crime News where a surgeon was bringing it home and giving it to his nanny during the night so he could do as he pleased without any fighting back or whatever, without any movement from her. Let me keep playing.
that was with hydroxyzine. I didn't know anything about marijuana.
I'm just asking you.
Oh,
I'm asking if you remember having that conversation. There is a conversation on your phone about you were relaying that Madeline said that she suspected that it was different, bigger pills, and you relayed that to Stephan and had a conversation with him. And if you don't remember it because it was a year ago, that's fine. My next question is, you have 2 female roommates,
yes,
and one of them has a son that sleeps part-time over there.
yes.
And so my understanding is they're kind of, it's like I don't know what to call it, like a bed and breakfast. There's numbers on the doors upstairs.
I don't know. I just, to make it easier for the roommates, I just labeled each bedroom.
So they're in 2 and 3.
Yes.
All right. Now, bedroom number 4. At one point, you told the police that your sister was staying with you, and that's why the sleeping arrangements were as they were. Was your sister ever staying with you, or did I misunderstand what you said?
No, my sister wasn't staying with me.
Okay. So let me ask you this. At what point did Madeline's bedroom kind of become the living room? When did that setup start?
I think as soon as a few months into us moving back into that townhouse.
And when would that have been?
Let's say June of sometime in 2022, but I'm not sure when.
Okay. It's my understanding that it's December of 2022 that you and Stephan kind of break up,
Yes.
but he still remains in the townhome.
Yes.
Why is that?
So even though we were broken up, I still considered him one of my best friends. I wanted to give him the opportunity to live there, and he had gotten a job at Disney and was doing well.
Amanda says, I've had to live in my living room, had a 2-bedroom apartment with a son and a daughter, and I'd sleep on a floor before my kid didn't have a room. 100% agree with you. I've been trying not to talk too much so you guys can hear, but that is so frustrating to me. I'm sorry. That's bullshit. I'd be the same damn way. Before I have a bedroom, her ass should be sleeping in the living room. All right.
Okay.
And I didn't want him to continue to lose that because he had been struggling for a long time to get a job or do anything with his own mental health issues.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give him a chance to do something, be something. So
Did he pay rent?
Yes.
How much rent did he pay?
$600 a month.
All right.
Sorry.
No footsies.
Like them all with.
So in December of 2022, kind of when the breakup happens, prior to that, what were the sleeping arrangements in your home? Was he sleeping in your bedroom as a couple?
Yes.
So who's in bedroom number 4, if anybody?
I think that room remained empty for a while. For a little bit, there was another roommate there, but it remained empty for the most part.
And were your female roommates already there in 2 and 3?
Yes.
Why doesn't Madeline have that bedroom 4?
I wanted her to have bedroom 4, but my dad really wanted rent. That whole unit that I live in is owned by my father.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you
Thank you for asking that.
pay your father anything to live there, or does he just handle the collecting the rent from your rentees, lessees, whatever they are?
I pay him rent as well.
Okay. What do you pay for the rent?
My portion of the rent was $400 a month.
All right. And what did the 2 female roommates pay?
$850 and $650.
Prior to Madeline having her own bedroom set up in the living room, where was she sleeping in that townhome?
In my bed with me.
Okay. And this is during a time frame when you were together with Stephan. So is it the 3 of you every night?
Well, when we had first moved in, it was just me and Maddie. So it was just me and her on the bed. Then I think we eventually got her own bedroom. Stephan moves in eventually. And then, yeah, at that point, it does become the 3 of us on the bed.
So Madeline's 12 and she has her own bedroom. And how often is she sleeping in her own bed alone?
Hardly. She doesn't like sleeping alone. And she doesn't like the living room. It's too big, too quiet. She says it would be too dark and that there would be spiders. She would see spiders, so.
So you say hardly. Were there ever nights where she just slept alone in her bed? Or is it 100%? Because there's a difference between hardly ever and 100% to me.
If she ever slept on that bed, it was like once.
Okay. All right. So now you've broken up with Stephan in December of 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's still paying rent and he's there full time in bedroom number 4. Is that where he goes after you break up?
No, he stayed in my room for a few months. We've broken up, but we weren't sure how to discuss it with Maddie because it was the beginning, it was the middle of the school year, and I didn't want to affect her in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So we just played it off, acted like everything was normal and fine for the first 6 months. And then eventually she caught on. And then once she did, we admitted to her that we were broken up. And then, at that point is when he moved up to bedroom 4.
Okay. And once he moved up to bedroom 4,
eventually she caught on. We are almost done, and we're going to chat about it all. So I'm really trying to keep my commentary. But if I was her, I wouldn't want to sleep alone either. I would probably be trying to sleep right next to my mom too, until she kicks her out and won't let her because she needs rest. I mean, I think Maddie needs rest, considering she's going to school, falling asleep in class, not making very good grades, but whatever.
were there instances where Madeline would sleep alone upstairs with him?
I'm going to say
I want you to think carefully before you answer, because obviously we've gone through your phone and we've seen all the conversations that you've had with Stephan. So it's clear that that's occurring. So I'm giving you the chance to answer the question.
Thank you. You better think real careful about this, because we already know. We just want to hear it from you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how many times it's happened.
Okay. Why are you allowing that to occur?
I saw Stephan as someone that I completely trusted with my life, my child's life. I thought he had cared for her as a father would. He had been in her life for more than half of it, playing the father role. I thought he cared for her the way I did.
Now, does there come a point in time in 2023 where you've kind of had enough of roommate ex-boyfriend Stephan and ask him to hit the road?
Yes.
And is that fair to say it was like October?
Maybe, yeah, like the end of October, because then I gave him all of November and told him he had to be out by December 1st, kind of thing. But yeah, that sounds about right.
And then did you kind of ask him to leave a month earlier and it was a source of arguments?
Yes.
Okay. So now at this point in time when he's being asked to leave, have you had any conversation with Maddie that mommy isn't together with Stephan anymore and this is kind of the ways of the world? Do you have that conversation with her?
She had, by June, she figured it out already, so she knew we weren't together or anything like that. So she, by December, yeah, she had already known he was leaving, and
okay,
but that was okay.
Why is he coming back to visit after he's out?
We're still friendly with each other at this point. Christmas is coming up, and we wanted to spend Christmas together. So he comes up for a few days during Christmas, and then he does visit a few more times after that, but for the day. And it's to pick up packages. He keeps getting mail delivered to my house, packages. So he just comes up and picks them up.
And when he comes to visit after he's been kind of kicked out, is he paying rent or how is this working? Or is he just coming to visit?
He's just coming to visit.
Is your father making any arrangements to rent bedroom number 4? Because this is his income that he's losing.
Yeah, we had it. We had like an ad posted to see if we can get any renters. So we were trying to rent it out, but then we had to stop.
And what happens if you ended up renting room number 4? Is Stephan going to still come up and visit you and sleep in your bed?
I don't know. I hadn't even thought of it at that point.
Good question.
At one point, you told investigators that Stephan was quote unquote stuck down there until they could afford for him to come back. Were there plans for him to come back?
We had discussed him coming back and living with me.
Hey, Angela.
We weren't sure if temporarily or like for me to help him out with the place for a little bit before he can find his own place and move out. Or we were also considering talking about living together as like a companionship.
Oh God.
With my best friend who's helping me out with the child.
Because you told investigators that a lot of the reason your relationship fizzled off with Stephan was that your antidepressants. You had moved on.
Remember, there's redactions. Amber, if you're free, I'm going to drop the link when we're done. We're like less than 20 minutes until we're finished. And Teresa was going to come up, and Jenn too, if she can. If you can, you should as well. Because, yeah, I love to chat with you guys and make sense of this kind of stuff with you and hear your thoughts and stuff.
To other people, had you not?
Yes.
And so despite having moved on with other people, you were still having Stephan come up and visit, and there were plans to cohabitate with him again, potentially.
Possibly, yes.
The cop did.
Maddie had the opportunity to go visit her biological father in the fall out in Texas.
Okay, Amber,
yes.
All
right.
For sure.
Do you remember texting the biological father, hope nobody touches Maddie or tries shit or films her under the bathroom?
What?
Do you remember sending that text?
What? Hope nobody touches Maddie or tries shit or films her under the bathroom. Wait a minute. She sent that to Maddie's dad when we know, and I just saw it. I have the actual photos in the files downloaded, but I have a screenshot of where I first saw them. Remember, we were looking at those photos of the phone under the door. The cops recreated what they found in Stephan's phone because he had been watching the roommates under the door, and they didn't even know. They were, shown naked photos of themselves by police. Do you recognize this? And then Jenn texts that to Maddie's dad? That is very strange to me. I'm going to find that photo, at least one version of it, and for us. So let's keep listening. What?
No.
She doesn't remember texting him that. It's redacted here. Oh, there's a volume thing on this. I didn't know.
Orange County Sheriff's Office back in February.
No.
She doesn't remember
seems
texting Maddie's dad. Hope nobody touches Maddie or films her under the door.
like a very oddly specific thing to text the father. So you didn't know anything about what was going on filming underneath bathroom doors?
No idea. I don't know why I would have texted them.
June 16th of last year, about 9:30 p.m.
Oh, actually, I can actually think back to that.
Okay.
I think around the time that Maddie was going to fly out to Houston,
Mhm.
there had been an airline person that had gone into the bathroom and placed their camera on the toilet
Mhm.
to film. And I remember thinking, I don't want Maddie, I'm afraid of Maddie being alone on a plane because what if an attendant does that to her? It's like, hold on, let me fix something in the bathroom.
Oh, bullshit. You gotta be kidding me. Has she heard that happened on airlines? Okay, just quickly, let me show you. This is not the best version of it. We have much more clear, but it's the one I could get to the quickest. This is in the case file. There are several versions. There's even a picture, like the picture straight off the phone that you see here in some of the evidence that's been released. But you had heard that this was happening on airlines and didn't want that to happen to her? What? Okay.
And in reality, they're setting up a camera because this did happen to a girl.
Okay.
So I want to.
I'm sorry, you guys. I keep forgetting I have the overlay. Let me just go right back to it for just a second. This photo of the phone under the door, which, like I said, it's a blurrier one because it's a photo of a photo. But, oh, wow. Okay.
They may have been concerns over that.
You're kidding me, dude.
Now, June 16th of last year at 9:30 p.m. and 27 seconds, you texted Stephan this. Maddie's no longer sleeping with me. I can't risk it. What does that mean?
What?
I have no idea.
How often was Maddie sleeping with you?
Maddie's no longer sleeping with me. I can't risk it. But she has no idea what she meant.
Often, all the time.
Well, you keep on saying often versus all the time. Was it 100% of the time or not 100% of the time?
If she wasn't with my mom and she was with me, then yeah, she was sleeping with me.
And if she's at mom, she's 100% of the time sleeping with mom? Your mom?
With my mom, or she does have her own room, I guess. Like there's another spare room she could use, but for the most part, she prefers to sleep with my mom.
Okay. Now, my understanding is that you had some sort of period tracker that you kept track of Madeline's period with?
I had a calendar app that I would write what days she would get her period, yeah.
And obviously, Madeline doesn't have a job, so she's not going out and buying the products that she would need if she had her period, right? You would have to do that for her?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
So do you remember her using any of those products at all in February? Because I assume you take the trash out, or does she take the trash out, or how does all this work?
I take the trash out. In February, no, I didn't notice her using any of her feminine hygiene products.
Did you have any conversations with her about that?
No, but I didn't notice until after everything.
Wait. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'm really trying not to do that. But I'm just curious why this keeps coming up. Because remember, the friend said that she didn't think Maddie had, well, she actually, I took it, I thought people were kind of taking it one way and I took it another. I think she said, we usually have our periods at the same time, but I don't know if she had hers in February or something like that, where it was almost like she's not necessarily saying Maddie missed hers. It's just she didn't know, maybe they didn't talk about it. But now this is coming up again here. Okay, let's just keep listening.
Because it would have been due like at the beginning of February.
And one last thing. I know the period tracker might sound odd to people at first, and it could be, I'm not saying that it's completely innocent. I don't know. But I do know that doctors will encourage us as women to do that. I know you guys know that too. But maybe something like that, maybe especially if she had irregular ones, sometimes heavy, I don't know, stuff like that. She could have been encouraged by a doctor, but him asking her about her missing it, I don't know. I'm trying not to jump to conclusions, like I said, but it's
24.
Oh my God. Hold on, we got skipped ahead.
So I want to say it may have been concerns over that.
Okay. Now, June 16th of last year at 9:30 p.m. and 27 seconds, you texted Stephan this: Maddie's no longer sleeping with me.
Sorry,
I can't risk it. What does that mean?
Wow. Hey, Jordan.
I have no idea.
How often was Maddie sleeping with you?
I can't risk what? I'm sorry.
all the time.
Well, you keep on saying often versus all the time. Was it 100% of the time or not 100% of the time?
If she wasn't with my mom and she was with me, then yeah, she was sleeping with me.
And if she's at mom, she's 100% of the time sleeping with mom? Your mom?
With my mom, or she does have
June, Lisa, of
her own
2023, I believe.
room, I guess. Like there's another spare room she could use, but for the most part, she prefers to sleep with my mom.
Okay. Now, my understanding is that you had some sort of period tracker that you kept track of Madeline's period with?
I had a calendar app that I would write what days she would get her period, yeah.
And obviously, Madeline doesn't have a job, so she's not going out and buying the products that she would need if she had her period, right? You would have to do that for her?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
So do you remember her using any of those products at all in February? Because I assume you take the trash out, or does she take the trash out, or how does all this work?
I take the trash out.
Oh, God.
In February, no, I didn't notice.
Remember, Stephan was really anxious and worried that weekend before he went over. He was asking for anxiety medication from his parents.
Her using any of her feminine hygiene products.
Did you have any conversations with her about that?
No, but I didn't notice until after everything.
Because it would have been due like at the beginning of February, and this all happens at the end of February, so she's almost due again in March. So you never had any conversations with her about not having her period at the beginning of February?
No, she's had other periods that have been missed or like super late, so I just assumed this was going to be one of those situations again.
Okay.
But no, I didn't.
Did you ever discuss her periods or lack of periods with Stephan?
I don't think so.
It's my understanding that Maddie had to take Miralax. I'm familiar with that myself because of my daughter when she was little. So she had constipation issues?
Yeah.
Would it ever cause her discomfort, physical pain, bleeding?
Oh my God.
Yes.
And how are you aware of that?
She would tell me. There have been moments. So we've gone to doctor's appointments.
And because we know what was happening to that poor child, I can read between the lines what the cop is getting to here. And I'm just so full of rage. I don't know. I'm just going to listen, you guys.
A lot of tests on her. They told me
Fucking A.
why her body is doing what it's doing. But she's shown me if there was blood or if she's in the bathroom and she just can't go, like it's stuck. She showed me that too. So
Did she ever specifically seek treatment for tears or bleeding or anything due to her bowel movements?
no, I don't think so. Tears or anything like that. No. I don't think there was ever a tear.
Oh my God. The fact that this is, I mean, can you imagine having this discussion about your children with a cop? Because I'm just sitting here thinking about it. And hell, my kid, swimmer's here, and it puts me over the edge, worrying to death about him. If I'm having the discussion over tears on her bottom, her tone is just hitting me all wrong. But I want to read 2 comments. So Lisa, thank you so much. Lisa says, I want to know when the ex broke up with Stephan Stearns. Maybe she warned Jenn of his comment, and that's why Jenn said, I can't risk it. I want to match the dates. We can go back and do that. And I don't know if they gave an exact date, but we can go back and look at her interview stuff. And then Sleuthy, this is interesting. She says, apparently in Florida, a pregnancy has to be viable in order to charge for the death of the baby too. So if she was a month pregnant, they wouldn't charge for that, but would be good for the court to know. Okay.
On February 26th, the whole purpose of Stephan coming and taking Madeline to school was so that you could get some sleep. You had missed your medication Saturday night, so on and so forth, right?
Yes.
Is there any particular reason Stephan couldn't have driven your car to take Madeline to school and therefore not embarrass her and he could just drop her off normally?
Yes, but because he's not on my car insurance, I was very nervous to let him drive my car.
You did let him drive your car after this occurred though, right?
Yes, but he was very insistent because he wanted to go look for Maddie and he had a spare on his car because he had a flat, so he couldn't drive his car. So he just really wanted to go out. So I just let him, but I wasn't comfortable with it.
Wait, she says she let him, but in the other interview, she said she realized when she got in her car and things were messed up. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just like, every time we hear something, I think back to, other things that we've learned.
During your previous interviews, and you did it once today, you kind of interchanged I, we, or Stephan dropping Madeline off at school. Did you see Madeline at all on February 26th, 2024, that Monday?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about how she died?
Oh my God. Imagine an officer asking you that about your baby. Okay. We're all going to need blood pressure meds by the end of this, but Casey says, what did the ex-girlfriend say? So the ex-girlfriend said that she said, she talked about their relationship just in brief. I can't remember exactly. She was asked a couple things about Maddie and if he mentioned her, and he hadn't in that way. But she did say that he wanted her, like during them getting it on, he wanted her to basically play dead. I don't know exactly how it was said, like lay on her stomach. Somebody in the chat help me out. And let's fill Casey in on what the ex-girlfriend said. I can't even think straight at this point.
Did Stephan tell you anything about how she died?
No.
Did Stephan tell you about his plans to go back down to Northport in your car that Wednesday morning? Got any questions, Mark?
Mhm.
And we're getting close.
I'm going to jump through because I was making notes as we were going on. So how frequently did Stephan come up here after he moved back to Northport?
I'm gonna say
How many times total do you think he came back here?
2 to 3 times.
Do you remember if those were around specific dates?
One was like the week of Christmas. I can't remember when the other one was.
Was Stephan in town the week or two prior to this last time he came?
I don't remember. It's possible, but I don't remember. Everything is becoming a blur.
Do you remember sending him a text message asking if he can babysit Maddie while you go have lunch with your friend?
This was a few weeks before.
Mhm.
I remember going out a few weeks before. I don't remember asking him to babysit. I don't know where he was.
Did you ever go to lunch with your friend? And he babysat her?
I did go to lunch with my friend, but I don't think he was here. I think Maddie stayed home alone for a few hours.
Okay. When you mentioned Maddie caught on about you guys being broke up, how did that happen? What did she say? Or
I forgot. Me and Stephan were having a conversation. She goes, "Are you guys broken up?" We kind of looked at her. I'm like, "Why do you ask?" She goes, "Because you guys are kind of acting like you're broken up. You guys haven't hugged and kissed in a long time." We're like, okay. So we just
how do you think she felt about that?
Fine. She didn't act sad or happy or anything. You're just like, whatever.
All right. Now you mentioned to me before too that you found her phone on her dresser in like her little bedroom area. Does she have a specific spot where she plugs in her phone to try? How does she charge her phone?
So on her side of my bed, she's got a long charger. She'll connect it there to charge. Don't know how she charged it that night though. Don't know if she took her charger and moved it to the room upstairs. Not sure.
How do you charge your phone?
Lisa, that's right. I mean, the girlfriend who broke up with him because he said he woke up next to Maddie with an erection. He wouldn't stay at her house because he had to snuggle with Maddie at night. That was the thing she was uncomfortable with. But when she was asked like about them texting or him saying, she did say he didn't outright say, of course, admit to what was happening. And the ex-girlfriend also said that he had a hard time getting aroused. Amber explained it in the chat, ATS News. And yeah, I'll put her comment back on the screen, actually. Like I said, my brain is at the point where it's just not damn working anymore. At the beginning, I was like, I can remember dates and stuff. At this point, he had a hard time getting aroused, and one of the times he was super aroused was when he had her face down, basically lifeless, playing dead. That was the most aroused she had ever seen him. Couldn't even remember what your comment said. She said Stephan told her that when he woke up next to Maddie, he had an erection. She thought that was awful and broke up with him. Yes, she was uncomfortable with that. I have that report pulled up. I'm going to mute. We have 9 minutes left. Let's try to get through it, and I'll grab that report and I'll drop the link when it's ending. Okay.
Charge my phone with my charger next to me on my side
here.
Okay, is it one that you plug in or
the magnetic one?
Okay.
Is it redacted?
Now, when you go to bed at night, is there any kind of routine that you do with your phone?
We kind of look at her. Like, why do you ask? She goes, "Because you guys are kind of acting like you're broken up. You guys haven't hugged and kissed in a long time."
I don't know what I did there. Hold on, you guys.
How do you think she felt about that?
I don't know if it's redacted because there are like some some places where it is.
sad
I'm
or,
gonna pull it up on another
or happy
device
or
right
anything.
here and
You're
make
just
sure.
like, whatever.
All right. Now you mentioned to me before too that you found her phone on her dresser in like her little bedroom area. Does she have a specific spot where she plugs in her phone to charge? How does she charge her phone? 24.
So on her side of my bed, she's got a long charger. She'll connect it there to charge. Don't know how she charged it that night though. Don't know if she took her charger and moved it to the room upstairs. Not sure.
I remember going
How do you
out
charge
a
your
few
phone?
weeks before. I remember asking him to babysit. I don't know where he
Charger
was.
next to me on my side.
Did you ever go to lunch with your friend? Okay, is it one that you plug in?
I did go to lunch with my friend, but I don't think he was here. I think Maddie stayed home.
Let's go a little bit further. Sorry,
Now,
guys.
When you go to bed at
Did you
night,
ever
is there any kind of
discuss
routine that you do with your
periods or lack of
phone? If
periods
you're
with Stephan?
texting, look on
Now we're
TikTok
too
or
far.
whatever, and you go to bed, you just set your phone
Where
down
is
and go to
that?
sleep,
Oh,
or
what the heck
what's that
happened
routine?
on here?
I'm gonna jump through because I'm making notes as we're going on. So, how frequently did Stephan come up here after he moved back to Northport?
Yeah, just lay down, close my eyes.
I'm gonna say
How many times total do you think he came back here?
2 to 3 times.
Do you remember if those were around specific dates?
One was like the week of Christmas. I can't remember when the other one was.
Was Stephan in town the week or two prior to this last time he came?
I don't remember. It's possible, but I don't remember. Everything is becoming a blur.
Do you remember sending him a text message asking if he can babysit Maddie while you go have lunch with your friend?
This was a few weeks before. I remember going out a few weeks before. I remember asking him to babysit. I don't know where he was.
Did you ever go to lunch with your friend? And he babysat her?
I did go to lunch with my friend, but I don't think he was here. I think Maddie stayed home alone for a few hours.
Okay. When you mentioned Maddie caught on about you guys being broke up, how did that happen? What did she say, or?
Forgot. Me and Stephan were having a conversation. She was like, "Are you guys broken up?" And we kind of looked at her. I'm like, "Why you ask?" She goes, "Because you guys are kind of acting like you're broken up. You guys haven't hugged and kissed in a long time." I'm like, okay. So we just kind of.
How do you think she felt about that?
Fine. She didn't act sad or happy or anything. You're just like, whatever.
All right. Now, you mentioned to me before too that you found her phone on her dresser in like her little bedroom area. Does she have a specific spot where she plugs in her phone to charge? How does she charge her phone?
So on her side of my bed, she's got a long charger. She'll connect it there to charge. Don't know how she charged it that night though. Don't know if she took her charger and moved it to the room upstairs. Not sure.
How do you charge your phone?
I charge my phone with my charger next to me on my side of the bed.
Okay, is it one that you plug in or?
The magnetic one.
Okay. Now, when you go to bed at night, is there any kind of routine that you do with your phone? If you're texting, look on TikTok or whatever, and you go to bed, you just set your phone down and go to sleep, or what's that routine like?
I'll TikTok until I start dozing off, and then I'll put my phone on the charger, make sure my alarm's on, and then just lay down, close my eyes, and hope not to think of too much, just fall asleep.
Okay, that night, Saturday or Sunday night, when you guys spending this half hour of time together, was all you that you were doing was talking about gifts and counting her money, or were you guys doing anything else?
Just asking her for more details about the party and tell me like what I missed. She seemed like she had a really good time.
When you got home from work that day, where was everybody?
I think everyone was in my room, hanging out in my room.
Okay, everybody meaning
Maddie and Stephan were there.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Now it's obvious that you and Stephan communicate via text message and phone calls and stuff like that. What is Google Meet?
What is Google Meet? That is like Google's version of FaceTime. So just face chatting.
Okay.
Video chatting.
Okay. When her birthday party was planned, was this planned before you got your job or after?
The birthday party? I think it was planned before. Because once I saw my schedule and I saw that it was during a training day, and I wasn't going to call out. I considered rescheduling the party, but my family was insistent to just keep it that day. I said, okay.
All right, so Stephan moves out of his room, and I think you mentioned that your dad had plans on renting that room again to somebody else. Is that right?
Yeah.
How was that room set up? How was Stephan's room set up after he moved out?
Pretty much the same. The bed was in the same location. The TV, the dresser, the desk, and the mini fridge. Everything stayed in the same location.
Okay, was the bed and did it have comforter, blankets, and all that stuff on it, or?
When he moved out, everything was empty. There was a mattress protector cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had clean sheets and clean blankets to put on, like they're available. So
where were they available?
In the closet.
Okay.
And I did. Yeah. Now that I don't know they were there.
Do you know if he made the bed?
I don't know. But I'm going to assume he. I don't know.
What did the blankets look like that would be used to make that bed?
They would be white.
So we have 5 minutes left, but just quickly, I want to show you, I did find the ex-girlfriend part. So, oh my gosh. Did I lose it again while I was, oh my gosh, I think I did. Let's see. Lord have mercy. All right, I'm going to look for it while we listen.
White cotton linen sheets they're white, but they're white stripes, different shades of white. So white stripes going down it. That was a fitted cover, then a sheet, and then the pillowcases. And there should have been like a warm blanket in the closet somewhere.
Is it the same color, white or?
Maybe gray.
Okay. When you say there's pillowcases, how many pillows were on the bed?
I'm not sure. I know that we had taken things out of that room before. I don't know if we used those pillows. I'm not sure what pillows were there.
Okay, did you ever go into the room after you discovered that she was missing? Did you go upstairs to that bedroom? No. So when you go to sleep in your room, and you're either with Maddie or without Maddie or with Stephan, is your door open, closed, lights on, lights off?
When I go to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a cat. I can't shut the door. I have to leave it cracked.
Mm-hmm.
So it stays cracked with a door stopper behind it so it doesn't open all the way because my cat will just Yeah, but we sleep with the door cracked.
Okay, lights on, lights off.
Lights off with a YouTube video playing in the background, playing rain sounds.
Okay, would the screen be illuminated, or is it something where a screen, like a phone, where the screen goes black and it still plays?
It goes black, yeah. So.
Okay. Do you remember it happened that night if you were listening to those YouTube videos, or?
Probably was. I listen to it every night, so I probably was.
Does it shut off automatically?
Around like 4 or 5 a.m., but then I'll notice and I'll press play again.
Okay. Is it fair to say that you're easily woken up, or no? By sounds like that, or?
I'm sure I'm easily woken up. I don't know.
Okay. Now, the purpose of you telling or having Maddie sleep with Stephan upstairs is because you told me before that you needed a good night's sleep. If you needed this kind of sleep previously to when Stephan wasn't there, what would happen?
You mean if Stephan wasn't there and I needed this good night's sleep?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. If I had missed my meds the way I missed them at night, and I wasn't feeling, or I was feeling just how I was
We're
feeling.
almost done, you guys.
I'm not sure if I would have had her sleep with me on the other side of the bed, or if I would have sent her upstairs to the guest room. But she sleeps like a monkey. She rolls. She'll start on one end of the bed and end up on top of me by the end of the night. And she's a gymnast, I guess. But
she's a gymnast, I guess. What?
Have you ever sent her upstairs to sleep?
Oh my god.
Not for any of these reasons.
Have you ever sent her upstairs to sleep by herself?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm going to need to wrap this up.
We need to wrap this up.
Okay, one more question. Does anybody use your phone
Was that her attorney?
other than you?
Was that her attorney who said we need to wrap this up?
No, except for the day that we were sitting in front of my house.
Wow.
And forensics was in the house. That was the only time I've ever let anyone use my phone, and that was Stephan. Stephan had my phone.
What about, do you wear an Apple Watch?
Yes.
Does it track any of your movements or anything like that you know of? Do you sleep with your watch on?
No, I don't think I put it on, honestly.
Wow.
All right.
Do you have anything real quick, Daniel? Do you have anything that you think we should know, Matt? Unfortunately. Good down there?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, it's 10:06.
Find it really interesting. They ask about, I'm going to drop the link, and while we're waiting, I want to read a couple parts to you guys. The ex-girlfriend's statement and the friend's statement over the period. Find it really interesting, the questions they chose to ask. Okay, so first we're going to talk about her. Well, no, I'm on Stephan, so we'll talk about that first. I just put the overlay up because their names aren't redacted, and we went through them before. So, I know that I had heard that the ex-girlfriend didn't want all of her information out there, her name, all that stuff. So fine. We'll do it like this. So on February 29th, that quickly, they responded to a certain residence to speak with his ex-girlfriend. We're going to call her M. Okay. M provided a sworn verbal statement summarized as follows. M saw a Facebook post regarding the disappearance of Madeline and recognized Jennifer in the post. M knew of Jennifer because she dated Stephan in the past. The next morning, a friend from her job advised her there was an arrest involving the investigation and the person was Stephan. M explained she dated Stephan in the past and contacted the Orange County Sheriff's Office to provide any information that may help in the investigation. In 2022, Em and Stephan were in a brief, intimate relationship. During this relationship, she would invite Stephan to spend the night with her, but Stephan would refuse. He told her he needed to stay at Jennifer's house because Jennifer and Madeline could not sleep without him there. He further explained specifically Madeline would not sleep if he wasn't there and advised he would sleep in the bed with them. She displayed her discomfort of the sleeping situations, but Stephan continued to live and stay there. She ended their relationship not long after finding this out. I asked her about their intimate relationship. She said Stephan had a tough time having an erection. She described one very weird occasion where Stephan had her lay face down completely flat as if she was dead, in quotations, and had sexual intercourse with her. Em said that was the only time he was very erect. I asked her if Stephan ever disclosed being sexual with blank, but he never did. See full audio for further details. I definitely want to hear that. And then just really quickly, there was the comment that the friend made about the period. So I didn't take it, like I said, exactly how, some people did, because this is what she said. She was, let me see. Hold on, I'm just going to search her name really quick. I can't see if anyone's backstage right this second. Give me 1 second, because I'm... Wow, okay, that her name is used a lot of times in this documents and other instances, so 1 second. I am curious about this, you guys. Let me take the thing down so you can see. So in this part of the document, it's redacted, but I want to know what this is. Maddie's phone revealed the following message that contained a photograph of 2 coins at midnight at 12:47, and then it's completely redacted. Like, well, I'm not sure what that's about. And I put this on the screen because this is the police, the little report he did after that interview. Okay, so let me just get to this part. This was Maddie's best friend. We're going to call her S. They make contact with S, and she was identified as Maddie's best friend by multiple people. She was placed under oath and made the following statement. I explained to her and her mother that was present that I understood that she was previously interviewed by detectives. I had to clarify a couple of things she had discussed. I asked who else was at Maddie's party other than her family. She said another girl from their school. E, and S didn't know E's last name. When I asked S how Madeline was acting at her party, she said when she got there, she was kind of acting upset, but when E got there, she changed her demeanor and began to act happy. I advised S that she had previously mentioned her and Maddie may have been on the same menstrual cycle, meaning they got their period at or near the same time monthly. S clarified Maddie got her period in January, but didn't know if she got her period in February or not. She then explained Maddie was upset because some of her friends canceled going to her party, and that goes on. But that's all it said about, her cycle. So it kind of seems like it could mean that she just didn't tell her about it. Okay. I don't know if you guys are still here and you want to come up, but I'm going to drop the link again. Well, you know what, Sleuthy? In this other interview, the cop was like, is it normal for you to message Maddie so late and FaceTime her so late? Because what was her bedtime? And so I think they were talking a lot. And then another friend who was interviewed said that one time she called Maddie and that Maddie was always talking to him. But one time when she called, Maddie said, do you want me to call you back or add you in? I'm on the phone. She said, add me in. And when she got added in, it was nothing. It was basically hanging out, doing homework, talking, whatever. But it was like he was acting like a friend to her, I don't know, Jaded. I'm really curious now knowing that the cop asked Jenn about her missing her period. I can pretty much guarantee you before this interview, she was subpoenaed to be there. She had an attorney. The attorney ended the interview. But I can tell you what, those police officers thought long and hard about every single question they were going to ask. Hold on one second. In my opinion, they ask them for a reason. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Teresa?
Can you hear me or no?
Something happened to my audio or something? Teresa!
I'm here. I don't think you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hi.
Can you guys hear her?
Hello.
You can. What the hell? All right, let me get off my computer. Hold on, T. I'll be right there. I'm going to come in on my phone. No wonder the audio wasn't working for me on the interview. I don't know what I've done. Okay. Hold up. 1 second.
Hi, everybody. So while she's doing that, I'll just put out my disclaimer of my opinions are my opinions and do not reflect Alex Erickson and her channel. So just a little disclaimer for because I hate these fucking people. Like, so I want to make sure that like everybody knows like my opinion is my opinion and doesn't reflect Allie.
I'm so sorry, T.
You're fine. I'm just running the show over here, just being like, what is?
Well, thank you, because I literally have you come up and then have you talk to everybody. Oh my gosh. What do you think after all this?
So I just told your chat that my disclaimer is that my opinions are not your opinions, so not to hold my thoughts against you. Because I think I we've talked privately about this, but I despise Jenn. I despise this woman and Stephan Stearns. Both of them, I think, are trash can human beings, and I'd be fine if they were buried under the prison. So I have no nice things to say about either one.
Yeah.
I struggle to talk about this case because it takes me back to like with Chad Dorman, Letitia Stout. Like, I don't know what it is about certain perpetrators or alleged perpetrators, if you will, that just set me into like this like visceral hatred of a individual.
Yeah.
But there's just certain ones of them that I can't let, like, I just hate them. And it's like an unhealthy thing. Like, I don't know them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not part of that. I don't know Maddie. I don't know any of them. So like for me to have such a, like, I know like my physical like hatred of this person is probably not healthy for me. And so I try to like avoid the situation because I think they're both trash.
Okay, so for me, I really tried, which I know that you've been wait, do I have YouTube open or something? I know that you've been requesting everything but not covering it because it's hard for you to talk about. And I understand that because I get super angry too, but at first I really tried to like not jump on Jenn knew. And I still don't know what I think. But after this interview today, it has changed my mind once again. And I get it. I understand. There's a lot of things that didn't sound good in that didn't hit my ears right. Just even the way her tone. Can you imagine, Teresa, having a conversation with police about your baby's bottom being ripped and things like that?
I don't know how those cops even maintained their
Oh my
composure,
God.
having that you could tell they think that she's garbage. You could tell they know she's a liar. And as
Yep.
soon as she'd start to lie, one of them's like, let me just tell you, we already have the answer. And so she's like, okay, fine, I'll
Yep.
tell you the truth then. Like, they know she's a liar, which is why they had to offer her it's not immunity necessarily, but it's just any prior statement that she's made. If she lied, she won't get in trouble for it, because you can get arrested for
Yeah.
interfering with the investigation, lying to officers, so on and so forth. But they already knew that she was a liar, and I think they know she's still lying in this interview.
Well, I have a lot of questions about the period thing, and there were questions that they asked that like at the end, what was that one? I don't know. I feel like my emotions get going so much I can't even think straight anymore. But there are questions that they ask that they know the answer to that I don't know if she's honest about. Even Bendy's here. Hold on. Even about
Bendy Lou.
Jordan too. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Did I do it? There we go. Let me
There's
put
Jen.
it.
Hi, girls. What are we doing?
We're bitching about Jennifer Soto.
Yeah, let's not call her Jen. You know, come on, girls.
Hey, Jordan, is that you?
Hey, everybody. Yes, it is me.
Okay, just making sure because
Hey,
Jordan.
Jordan. Long time no talk.
Hi. I know. It's been a long time. How is everybody on this Saturday?
Doing good, but going through some emotional ups and downs
Oh
in
my
the last
goodness.
hour. So,
I
what do you
cannot
guys think?
understand like why she's not arrested. I don't get it.
They don't have enough to prove it. They don't have enough evidence.
They don't. Okay, so the other night, Allie knows this, but I haven't talked to you, Teresa, or I don't think I've ever even talked to you, Jordan. But
Jen.
hi.
Jordan's been on
Fellow
the true crime
Floridian.
streets forever.
Hi. Okay, not last night. What was it? Thursday night, Allie? Yeah, Thursday night. I think it was Hidden True Crime did a live, and they talked about extensively about Stephan Stearns and Jenn Soto at the very end. He focused on Jenn Soto. And for those that don't know, her husband is Dr. John, and he is a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I can't remember which, but his main job is evaluating SOs for placement, to see if they're eligible for parole, what the likelihood of reoffending is, all of those things. Okay, so he's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to SOs and the different variety, I guess, as it were. And one of the things that I had asked that got highlighted, and I wish that she would have asked him, was if you were to evaluate Jennifer Soto, how would you go about doing that and proving what she knew and when she knew it? Because I think that's the key. It's one thing to suspect or even know that she knew, okay? It is another thing to charge her and take that case to court. Because they got to be like, when they charge somebody with something, doesn't even matter what it is, even if it's a misdemeanor, they have to be prepared for that person not to take a plea deal, for that person to say, no, I want a jury trial. And they have to be able to prosecute that person on whatever it is that they've charged them with. And I think that is the key here, is they're going to, I listen, there's some stuff in that interview that I didn't hear the first time around. Sometimes when it gets too much, I have to like disassociate and go somewhere else. I don't know where I go either, but I did that a few times, and then I listened again. And some of the things that they were asking her, to me, sounded like they knew the answer already. And I think what they're trying to do is catch her in a lie. Because if she lied in that interview at all bets are off. That's all they have to do, is catch her in one lie. It doesn't even matter what it is, how big of a lie it is, how important of a lie it is. A lie will get her that what is the word? Divergent? No. What's the word? Immunity. It's the D word. What's the kind of immunity
I don't know.
she got?
Divergence?
Divergence. Is that what it is? Yes.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Okay. They can divergent use immunity. If that's what because that's what they got or what they gave her. If she lies about anything, it's over. Then everything that she said in that interrogation can be used against her.
Well, okay, you're exactly right, because there were moments, remember when he's like, oh, we already know the answer. So just so you know, but Sleuthy and Riley reminded me of a couple of the texts and things I was thinking of. One, what is the Maddie can't sleep with me anymore because I can't risk it.
No, that's
Derivative.
Derivative.
Sorry. Derivative. Thank you, ATS. I could not, for the life of me, remember what it was. Derivative use immunity. I'm sorry. My bad.
That's okay. But no, what is the I can't risk it? What can't you risk? What is the asking about the period, which I want to
Why
hear
didn't
what you
they
guys
finish
think
up
about all
asking
that.
her more about that? Like, she just absolutely lied. They're like, you don't have any idea what you would have meant.
Yeah. And how could you not know what no bullshit. And then
she knew. She knew
the
what she was
text,
talking about.
Right,
agree.
but they can't. But when you're, that's one of those weird questions. When you ask somebody what they meant and they say, I don't know, that's unless they have talked about that elsewhere, it's very difficult to prove they
Right.
did,
That's why.
they knew. You know what I mean?
That's
I
why
should have just let her
she
lie.
says. That's why exactly. And Jim put in the chat, her attorney probably told her to say, I don't know, rather than lie. But still, that makes no sense to me. You would have to know what you were talking about. And then what about the text to her dad about, I don't want anybody messing with her or filming her under the door?
I think Stephan probably sent it.
Well, and then she flipped it and said it was about the airline because
Bullshit.
of what
Bullshit.
happened with the airline pilot, or not pilot, but what do you call them? Stewardess.
How the hell would anybody be recording in a bathroom on an airplane? I've never heard that story, but maybe,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess there was like an incident where a stewardess was putting cameras in the toilet in the bathroom. So, and that's
Well,
what she kind of was like, oh, I remember sending that now because she was getting ready to fly to Houston.
It's covering for him.
Right, but
I
here's the
agree.
thing about that: she would be an unaccompanied minor, and they watch those unaccompanied minors. And granted, maybe one stewardess out of how many stewardesses are there on the airlines all the days? 11 billion. One stewardess out of 11 billion is an asshole. I mean, there's always a bad apple in the bunch. But that cannot be what she meant. What a load of crap, Jennifer Soto.
What could she not
Jennifer.
risk? Okay, now what do you guys think about this whole period situation? Because when it first started with that friend's comment, I brushed it off as the friend just didn't know if she had it or not. That doesn't mean she missed it. But now that we have the cop asking Jenn, you buy her feminine products. Did you know of her using any? And she says no. Now my mind's like, what the hell? And what was he so nervous about that weekend? I don't know. I don't mean to jump to conclusions, but it's hard not to in this situation.
I mean,
just
at
make a
first
side
I was like,
comment real quick?
no, there's no way she's pregnant. But I don't know. That's weird to me. Like, that's just weird.
Yeah, we will. That will be one of the things. So, Allie and I were talking about this too a while back about Florida and the way that they handle autopsy reports, particularly as it pertains to minors. That won't, if the totality of the autopsy report, all of the findings won't come out unless he goes to trial.
What were you going to say about a comment? Grab a comment.
I just want to make a side comment, like being on your panel and you're popping all these comments up here. Like, you have a gorgeous chat.
She does.
I
All these
know.
women, like, I'm like, holy crap, how do I look at this? Like, how do I not ever see all these pictures? Like, these women are flipping hot.
They are so beautiful.
Look at that one.
It's because
Look at that one.
I changed the brand or whatever, because you know how you can do it like this where the pictures are smaller.
That's what mine is.
And now it's on this one, so they're big and we can see them.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I always see little teeny tiny ones.
Oh, look at that one. Yeah, they are beautiful.
I'm gonna have to switch it because, like, dang.
Yeah, I switched it too.
Dog.
That's funny. But
that one right there, she's a cutie pie, but her daughter's way cuter.
Yeah, Amber.
Yeah, this
Oh
is
my
Captain
God.
Babes. I know. I'm like, what?
So
I'm not hitting on anybody, just FYI. I'm just saying, like, dang.
I agree, Teresa, 100%. But okay, I got a question. Why would he even take this to trial? Like, I've asked Jen this before, like, because it makes no sense to me with all the evidence, not only the pictures on the phone, but they have him on video every step of the way with Maddie deceased in the damn car, putting her in the trunk on video. So, what is
He's
he
not
going
going to trial. There's no way he's not going to plead guilty. There's too much. His attorneys are going to advise him to get the best deal that he possibly can.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he'll do it.
It doesn't mean he'll do it, but I'm
Look at
telling you.
Sarah Boone. You don't think that her attorneys, all 8 of them, which technically she's really only had 4 because the other one's
They
conflicted
have a
out.
lot of domestic violence in that relationship, and she actually has people who support her, which is flipping weird. I don't know anybody who's okay with Stephan Stearns and who's going to take his side. And there'll probably be some weirdo who ends up messaging him in
Wade
prison
Wilson
and telling him what
went
a
to
hottie he
trial
is.
too when they had evidence against him, and he went to trial too.
Wade
Wade
Wilson?
Wilson had an entire ass confession. Are you kidding
Right.
me?
And he went to trial. He was
Yeah,
like, nope,
not a
I
kid,
lied
though.
on my confession.
Still not a kid. You're talking a 13-year-old girl. That most
but
likely
here,
from
what
this
is-
interview
but-
sounds like she very well could have been pregnant, which I've never believed.
But what?
I didn't
Me
believe it
neither.
either, Teresa. I really didn't. I was like, no, there is no way. But after hearing that, and I feel like that cop knows.
Yeah.
There's a reason he asked that question.
There is a reason he asked that question, and I'll say this: what do they have right now? I know what this is what I think his attorneys are telling him. They probably will encourage him to take a plea deal, but that doesn't. They have to prove that he's the one that took her life, and there were multiple people in that home, including Jennifer Soto.
Yeah, but she was strangled. It'll be probably a lot easier with the
Well-
amount of force and where the fingers were, and
Mhm.
They have to put his hands around her throat. I mean,
I bet they will.
I
They
think
have-
they will too. But what Allie's asking is, why would he take this to court? At this point, if all of this stuff, and this is something that I think is important to note too. In Florida, I learned this from Sarah Boone's trial, not from you, Boone. Don't make no mistake. I learned it from watching real attorneys talk about your case. In Florida, once the defense has been given the discovery, the stuff that's in the discovery can then become public. Okay. And so if it's still on track for a trial at this point, after all of this, they've had this evidence. They know about this evidence. Why has there not been something already? There should, you know what I mean?
I truly believe the only answer is he's going to do some kind of mental health defense. Do they have that in Florida? I don't even know.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
do, but it's not. You have to I think it's one. I have to look it up again. I think you have to qualify it for it. See, even like for Sarah Boone. Okay, so she is her lawyer, her newest lawyer, but this is a defense that they've talked about before. Is the battered spouse syndrome defense. That it's not just a defense that you can just show up on the day of trial and announce, right? You can't just start, when it's your turn to present evidence as the defense. You can't just start with the, we're going to, use the battered spouse defense. It's a defense that has to be announced. And I think I think any type of insanity or mental defect is also a defense that has to be announced. Like you have to announce it, I think 30 days before the trial. So
Astro, I do remember you, of course I do, but I don't remember you being blocked or timed out. But
Definitely not blocked because they're here and you didn't unblock them. So
yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, a lot of people thought that before. I just never bought into it. I was like, no, there's no way. But now hell, there was a YouTuber literally talking about the size of her body, her breast, her stomach.
Mhm.
It was disgusting. So that just turned me away from that theory. I think,
it's okay for you to be in the chat, Astro from Space, and come up with a theory is one thing. For a creator to say it out loud on a panel is a whole other ball of wax. And Allie, I know for a fact, is very careful about the things that she says because some information wasn't out there yet. And, so that's all.
Yeah, and because Maddie is a 13-year-old girl,
Mhm.
and everything about her has been exploited, abused, all of her thing. I just want to try to be as respectful to her as I can, and I wouldn't want to put something like that on her if it wasn't true. That's all. And then I just want to say thank you to Lariah for being a member for 2 months, and Nature Rocks for being a member for 9 months. Nature Rocks says, "Chat full of beautiful people, love this community." Thank you. So they will release it at trial if he goes, though, right?
Yes. Yeah. They'll yes, they're going to, whatever is in the autopsy report will be discussed in trial. But
if he pulled the plea, we're never going to get it.
No, we will never get it. She's a minor.
Mhm.
Yep.
Wow.
Florida is pretty open about a lot of stuff, but minors, they are totally not
Right.
They
open.
used to be open about everything. They used to just give you anything and everything.
Right. But what's
Well,
on his
so-
phone alone is enough for him to go to prison for the rest of his life.
I just want to say I love Florida because they had no qualms about putting his tiny PP in the FOIA request and just blasting that all over to anybody who requested anything from FOIA. I was like, those cops were like, should we put this in there? And they're like, hell yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Do you guys think Jenn will be charged with anything? I don't at this point.
I don't think so.
Okay, what do you guys think?
I think it's going to be difficult, and here's why. First of all, they're likely how they're going to try to go about proving anything independently, because unless she lies, they can't use that statement, right? So if I were them, I would start looking at the photographs of Maddie from Stephan Stearns, and I would match that up with where was Jenn Soto on those dates at those times. That's where I would start. Okay. And, but again, she also, it's going to be difficult. If they charge her, it's not going to be like soon. I think it's going to take some time. And I'm not even sure what they would charge her with other than
Child endangerment.
Child endangerment, abject fucking neglect, not paying the fuck attention. Just, I'm just going to say what I was going to say earlier in the chat. To me, Jennifer Soto seems like a person who believes if one pill is good, 2 are better, and 3 is best. And I feel like that might be why a lot of the things she doesn't remember, and she's like, I
think that we can also go with once they start talking with the doctors, and I'm sure they're already getting all of this stuff together too. But who's prescribing Maddie this medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Is there even a prescription for her? Is it for somebody else? Who's giving her? Who's administering this medicine to her? That's all going to be Jennifer Soto is the primary caregiver here, so they can absolutely find some type of neglect. Not to mention, I think they should anyway. No, you're fine. I think they should anyway, just for the fact that she was repeatedly letting her, not even making her sleep in a bed with a grown ass man who was not her father. Even if it was her father, I think that'd be a different. Forcing her to do it is a problem to begin with. Yep. Medicating her that way is a problem. We were talking about this earlier too, Allie. She was going through therapy at school. She's failing classes. She's ditching school. She's obviously got some trauma responses that are happening. Yep. They're talking about her in very private areas that with Jennifer Soto, and what the doctors had to say about these certain things, and whether she was complaining to her mom about it or not. I think this interview from April shows that they want to charge her, but they're waiting to have that piece of evidence that they know that will seal the fate. And remember, it's a murder case. So if they're going to charge her with any type of accessory to murder, which in my opinion she is, they'll have the ability to still get her for a long time.
Well,
right.
I mean, I think that they should at this point, because it was I mean, look, she at least walked away with her life. Maddie, I'm sorry, but and after all of this that we heard today, okay, what about I wanted to ask you and then I'll read Lisa's comment. What do you guys think about the get him a lawyer? Now we know that we don't hear her say it, but his dad claims that she tells him, get him a lawyer now. She also, after she finds out about the pictures, which by the way, these are not, this is one of the videos is Stephan telling Maddie, put my thing in your mouth for 3 minutes. And if you don't, no more playing on the phone. And this is right in all the paperwork. I'm sure that's some of the stuff that Jenn saw. After she sees all this shit, she goes to his dad and talks about how she wasn't giving Stephan any because her medications and all that stuff. I'm curious, what did you guys think, take from his parents' interviews?
I think she did tell his dad that. I think she knew. I think she knew that he did something to her. She doesn't act upset enough. I mean, I know everybody grieves differently, but that's your only child. I think she did tell his dad that. Go get him a lawyer.
I don't think he would lie either. That's just me. But
he has no reason to.
Well, I think that the dad was like, there was always something off about this kid. How did we not know it was this bad?
Yeah.
That was my interpretation from listening to
yeah.
Pop.
And his mom was like, I felt like mom was the opposite of he's my baby. I don't know. Cause he even says that they kind of got into an argument over it.
I think it was a dynamic of, the father was hard on Stephan, as dads can be with their boys, especially when they reach a certain age. And the mom was, now, he's just a little boy, how moms can be.
Yeah.
And, so she coddled, and the more she coddled, the harder the dad was to try to undo the coddling. And, okay. I guess maybe I'm just jaded, but to me, I think everybody that was interviewed that are adults have motive to lie. Stephan has motive to lie. His mother has motive to lie. His father has motive to lie. Jennifer Soto has motive to lie. They all have motive to lie. So it isn't about, for me, what they say. It's about can they prove. And do I think she said what she said? Probably, but I need to know how exactly she said it. Like angry,
Right.
Get him a lawyer. What was her tone? I'm not her overall tenor and the way that her mood was in the vehicle. I mean, right then in that moment, because there's a difference between somebody saying to you, you better get your son a fucking lawyer out of anger in that way, than, oh my God, Allie, you better get your son a lawyer. That's
Right.
different.
No, there is. And I think you're being logical about it and trying to be like but I think they, of course, would have motive to lie. Let's say they were trying to cover up for him or something, but that's not the case. His dad, it snitched on him, found all that evidence, that hard drive and those 2 thumb drives, took it to police. And that's how they found 35,000 images of other kids that weren't Maddie.
So
I couldn't see his dad trying to lie for him. But maybe to try to get Jenn in trouble too. We know that mom.
I could see that too, where they're trying to get her in trouble as well. Yeah.
Because mom says at one point, why are you the only one, in trouble for this? It wasn't just you.
Here's the thing. So tell me again about the situation with the storage. How did his father come about?
So Stephan had been out there and he didn't he was suspicious of why. I can't remember exactly, but he had been in the middle of the night, I believe it was. He went out there, tried to get on their Google, he was panicking, in my opinion, because he was trying to get into his Google account to delete all that shit. He went and he takes the hard drive out and the 2 thumb drives and he takes it to storage. I don't remember how Dad found it, but the reason he was suspicious because when he comes across it,
the dad found it.
Yeah, and Stephan had told him that it was somewhere else, that there was 2 thumb drives or something that he threw away or in his bedroom or something. And Dad comes across it in the storage unit and he was like, this is strange. Why would you do this? Take a hard drive out of a tower and all that stuff. And he just turns it in.
So there's a law in Florida. We learned this with Brian Laundrie's family, right? You don't have to tell the cops what your kids do, whether they're minors or whether they're adults. But what you can't do is help them to hide something. And if you come across something, you find it and you don't turn it in, then you're in trouble. And that's why he did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Lisa says maybe they'll go the Adelson route and go after Jenn if they get Stephan convicted. That's my Hail Mary wish. Lollipop says all of you guys are great, but I love Jenn. She loves you, so I wanted to make sure you saw
Oh,
that.
thank you.
And then Joanna, who comes from Teresa's channel, which I'm glad that you're here.
Oh, what
And
a
thank you
cute
for coming.
picture.
Yeah, it's adorable. She said, have you guys already discussed the rumor about her supposedly getting immunity? Wondering if that is valid or not. We have, and I've kind of given my interpretation of it, but one of you guys can explain it again if you want.
Well, I'm in Central Florida and she has not been seen. So I'm kind of like, where is she? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Central Florida is not that big. That area is not
Right,
that
it's
big.
not.
There's only so many places you can go.
right. So where is she? Is she hiding out? Did they give her protection? I mean, is she in, a hospital? Like, where is she?
Right.
I'm going to
So
hop down though. It's so nice talking to you guys.
Well, it's nice
Well,
talking
I'm
to you,
so
Jenn.
glad you came up.
Thanks
Good
for
seeing
coming
you
up.
again.
We come up. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wow.
So she has derivative use immunity. Okay. Not whatever the
We
hell I
wanted to do
said.
divergence, but it's direct.
Divergent. Maybe we were watching a movie. Who the hell knows what Teresa
Yeah,
and I were
and it was
thinking.
like it went right in my mind. I'm like, that sounds right. Like, yeah. So essentially, her immunity is just as long as she tells the truth now, everything that she has said prior won't be used against her. So she won't get arrested for lying to the cops in all of those first interviews we've heard.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that she can't be arrested later.
Correct. What they can't do is take anything from that statement that we just listened to and use that against her. Okay, go ahead. What if
What
babe?
She's lying.
What if it was admitting to a crime? Like, could they use that against her?
Well, technically lying to the cops. See, in Florida, that's another thing. And I didn't ever notice this either until Sarah Boone. But I don't know if y'all
Sarah Boone
noticed
is
this.
teaching you all kinds of stuff.
No, her case, not that looping nutbag. Just, I learned a lot about the laws in Florida. So when they were giving Sarah the interrogation, let's take Sarah out of it because she's the suspect. So when they talked to Brian Boone, when they talked to the apartment manager, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they had them swear that the information they were giving them is, true to the best of their ability, blah, blah, blah. That is something. So I find that to be very interesting. And now, because I'm off on a Boone tangent, I've forgotten what my whole freaking point to saying that was.
Something that you've learned about with
Oh, so all those statements or whatever, when she lied before, right? Lying to the cops is a crime.
Yeah. Well,
So she could have been charged for all of that. So what they'll have to do is now, if they find a lie in that statement that we just listened to, that interview that we just listened to, all bets are off and they can use all the things. However, if she doesn't lie or they can't find the lie, if they are going to charge her, it would have to be based on something completely independent of anything that they learned in that interview. Just makes it a little more complicated.
Basically titanium built. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know what
very
she
similar.
said.
She said, is it based like a proffer, basically? And I said, very similar.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's not.
Yes, with the
Okay.
proffer, with the interview, nothing you say in the interview can be used against you. That as long as you're honest. If you're not honest, then you can be arrested. The same thing with this.
Right, but the thing is that with derivative use immunity, nothing you say just in that statement or prior statements can be used against you, but you still can be charged with a crime. They just can't use that. A proffer is a little differently. They'll only charge you if you lie. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They don't need her to lie in this interview in order for them to charge her. That's the difference.
Titanium I am. I always do that. Thank you, B Crumbs. I'm sorry, Titanium I am.
I was like, wait, did Titanium girl change their name? I was thinking that. I was like, wait a minute.
I
All right.
always do that. I'm so sorry. I'm just, my brain is there's a lot in there. But yeah, if she lies, I mean, I feel like there's a good chance she could have lied. I don't know. What do you guys think about the lawyer cutting it off? Did they agree like at the beginning that there was some sort of time
Yes.
limit? Okay.
I think so, because
Or
the interviewer mentions time constraints
mm-hmm.
at the very beginning of the interview before anything even started.
Yeah, and he mentions at the end like something about that as well.
Yeah,
But-
due to time constraints like NFL football. Was there a game that they were? Is that why he mentioned NFL? Because I couldn't figure out what the analogy was there. I mean,
Well,
I'm
he
familiar
said-
with football, so I didn't get it.
I
That was
didn't
so
get it
weird. I
either.
was going to say something in chat about that too. I was like, what? Like
Thank you.
we're gonna skip ahead because it's the NFL? I'm like, what?
It's almost like he said, like the NFL, and the
Like they do in
NFL
the
doesn't
NFL?
skip ahead. They
But
don't.
that doesn't skip ahead. They make you stand there and wait.
Correct. You play all 4 quarters, 25 minutes a quarter. What are you talking about?
Well, and now they have it like where you like they literally take the commercial breaks and everybody's just kind of standing around.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the weirdest. I don't know. He's probably going, that was the stupidest thing I've ever said. It's probably one of those, like, you know how you say really dumb shit and like years later you're like, I can't believe I ever said that. So stupid.
Yes.
And it sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
That officer's thinking that about that NFL comment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's April, so I can't figure. That's what I couldn't understand. Like, what is he talk? We don't need to get focused on that because it probably means nothing. It's probably just
maybe
one
he
of
wanted
those
to
things.
skip ahead until football season. I don't know.
Maybe he was trying to say like a DVR. You skip through the commercials when you're watching the game.
It's just a dumb statement. I don't even know what he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't think he finished the analogy.
Amber says, very interesting she has a lawyer, which I know it's always a good thing to have, but I don't know, interesting still. And I agree. I mean, I think you should have one if you're being subpoenaed and made to show up for an investigative interview like that. However, you know, why, for me, if it was something happened to my kid, I'm guaranteeing you, I'm going to be working with the police every step of the way. Anything and everything I need to do to get to the bottom of it, I'm going to do. Yep. You're not going to have to do that stuff. It's not going to be months without hearing from me. None of that. That just would never happen. I'm going to be knocking on your door nonstop to make sure things are moving along. But everybody's different. And also, I've never been in the situation. I can recognize that. We don't truly know unless you've been there. But I just feel I would do anything and everything to help the investigation. And that's concerning to me. And then Holly says, so this interview is only a part of a batch of more things to come, according to one of the channels. So there's more info to come. I can only imagine it could get more devastating. Yes,
there's
Holly.
More interviews of Jennifer Soto or more?
I think just more stuff, because the way I understood it was, which I know Teresa's been requesting, Little Red's been requesting a ton for us, B Crumbs, but the way I understood it is they are releasing little stuff, like stuff in batches as they redact it. I don't know if there's more of her, but I think just more evidence.
I wonder, did anybody happen to say what else was still supposed to be released?
No, but who I heard say that was Grizzly. She said apparently there's going to be little batches as they can go through and redact things. So we'll get a little bit at a time, and they're still redacting. And
isn't that interesting that this happened in April or March, excuse me. The charges came in what? End of April is when he was charged with her murder.
Yeah, he was okay.
And we're into October, and we've seen a buttload of evidence. Meanwhile, we're still waiting on 25 calls for now 2 months.
Yeah, no joke. But no, it happened in February, on February 26th. He's arrested the first time on the 29th, and then I think the second time on the 24th of April. This interview was the 18th of April, so 6 days prior to his arrest.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out when they started. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. You know what blew me away about this interview? There's a lot of things, but the thing that I think I was most like jaw on the floor, and I know it seems like a small thing, but I didn't realize that Jennifer had gone into Madeline's room that morning. But she
What do you
did.
think about that? Like,
Okay. I'm just going to say from my perspective as a mom, okay? I was always a stay-at-home mom, and my mom wasn't. And so me and my sister, we had to help clean the house. So I always felt guilty, which was wrong. I learned my lesson. But I always felt guilty asking my kids to clean their room because I didn't work. So I figured, why should they have to help clean, right? This was a huge mistake, okay? However, nonetheless, it's a mistake that I made, but I cleaned my kids' rooms, okay?
yeah.
If something happened in that room, I think I would have known because I was always in my kids' room. The things that were in my children's rooms were in the rooms where they were because I cleaned up and put them there. So I
Right.
knew, and I was always cleaning their room. So I knew where their stuff was. So if things were out of order, if things didn't look right, I would know.
I think I would know too, but that's just me. And I clean Bentley's room, but also he does it too. And Trenton does his own, but I still would know in either one.
Can I ask the chat? The chat's talking about that how much people are paying for Discovery.
Yeah, they're saying that they're paying a lot. I don't
Who's
know.
paying for it?
I think that,
I've requested everything possible from 3 different places, and I've not paid a dime.
well, it's interesting because Lil Red has requested a ton, and I don't believe she's had to pay yet. Or I think
I've
she
not
might
paid
have
for
paid for tried to pay for some jail calls. Lil Red, have you had to
Yes.
pay?
I think that was the only thing. That's why I said that's not Discovery though.
No.
But all the Discovery items I've requested since this case has happened, and I've never paid anything from 3 different agencies.
Yeah, they're selling the
So
interviews and
I'm not
stuff,
really sure why
the recordings and the
anybody would.
photos.
I have all the pictures. They're not. I did not pay for them.
Well, they're being sold, and the photos and interviews and stuff. That's I don't know.
All the ones I sent you, Allie, I didn't pay for those.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder, is it like this? Because I know sometimes like the first person who gets it might pay, and then after that they don't charge. Do they charge for the hours to redact it all? I've heard that somewhere before, but somebody could just be blowing smoke up my ass. I don't know.
All right,
But
so Plunder supposedly posted a $2,000 receipt. Let me go see. Let me see what she requested for $2,000. 3 YouTubers split the cost amongst themselves. I think it was over $3,000. I'm trying to figure out what they have then that I don't, because I haven't paid. I'm telling you right now, what I have, I have not paid a dime.
well, maybe it is that first. I don't know. That's
It's
really
not. I have
interesting.
batches. I have tons of batches from different agencies. I just put it all in one Google Drive.
Oh, yeah, what you sent me, which I love the organization of that. It's very easy to go through. Easier than what
Redacted.
I've got going on my computer for sure. Way
So
better.
it could be something along the lines of, like you're saying, like the first person that requests it,
Yeah.
has to pay for it. But I'm almost positive I was actually the first one to pay to request the original interviews, and I was the first one that posted them. I know that. So I don't know.
Oh,
I'll tell you how you can look. You can see that they keep a list of who all requested what and what
We
was
should.
paid.
I don't know. Maybe. And like I said, I trust Plunder a lot, so I don't
right.
watch the other ones as much. Right? Plunder I've known for years.
Mm-hmm.
So she
Yeah.
posted a receipt. I'm just going to see if what she has is something maybe different than what I have.
Yeah. Let me know.
But Teresa is saying, you guys, that she also got batches, and some of the things that she got in batches were some of the first things that she got, and they have those redactions too, and she didn't pay.
And I didn't
right.
pay.
So
Right. That was the very first interviews and the very first body cams that were put out.
Now the state attorney's office will charge you. That's different though.
So I'm just saying it's interesting because I don't know. A Grizzly may have to pay because she's in an. I don't know the semantics of that. But so like for
Right.
instance, like I order all the Delphi stuff, and the first person who orders pays like $5.75 per page. Everybody else who orders pays $1. So I'm wondering if it's something like that. If like the first ones that request now, or maybe through certain agencies. Okay, so I'm gonna go back.
I'll say this.
Because
I'll say this. I can only tell you how El Paso County did it. Okay. And how El Paso County did it is they didn't give a rat's fat kneecap if you were the
Yeah.
first or the 50th person
no, they
to
just wanted to
order
charge
the
for
exact same thing. They charged everybody the same amount. So even though Allie and I have ordered a ton, paid, for, ordered, and put in on, and you and the subscribers said we've paid for all these calls, right? If Teresa ordered the same calls, she would be charged the exact same price we were. There is nothing. Even if with Teresa ordered, if Teresa requested the jail file with redaction, she would be charged the exact same price we would. So I don't
I stopped paying for stuff in Gannon's case because they were outrageously priced. Let's
Yes.
just say that.
It's ridiculous. It really is. All I know is YouTubers are making subs feel. Yeah, no, I don't.
And they might be. They might, and they, like I said, there might be a first, and depending on what agency. So
Yeah.
there's Orange County Sheriff, there's the Osceola County Sheriff, and then there's, I'm going to show you, I'm going to find the third one because I don't want to name them incorrectly. So let me go into my email so I can just make sure I tell you.
Yeah. And while you do, I'm going to read this one part of this one report. So on 2/25, Jennifer set her cellular phone on a wireless charger at 11:54. This is what I was talking about, how they talked about her phone. So on 2/26, she set an alarm to go off at 9 a.m. The alarm was removed from the notifications while still on the wireless charger. On the 26th at 9:19, her phone was physically removed from the charger. This is consistent with her daily activities in removing the alarm or snoozing the alarm. Listen, there were several other messages between her and Stephan regarding Madeline sleeping in the same room together. There was also text messages between Stephan and Jennifer claiming Stephan gave Madeline an extra dose of her medication when it was not necessary. But yet he still gave her medication the night that all this happened. I don't know. I really don't like that, the extra medication, and then the interview asking about the THC pills and stuff too.
Well, what I don't understand is even though like pharmacies keep track, okay, of when prescriptions are refilled. So even if they're not controlled substances, they still keep track. So if Madeline was routinely being given more of the hydroxyzine than she was prescribed, right? She was given 2 doses at night instead of 1. It doesn't it doesn't take that many times of that happening before you run out early.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So even if it's not a controlled substance, Medicaid doesn't just throw around, if that's what however it was being paid for, even if you're self-pay.
Yeah.
There'll be a record of that.
My thing is too, though, like the THC pills coming up, and I'm curious. I really want to see all their text and all of their text with Maddie. I'm very curious about that. And then one last thing I want to read to you guys that off this report is some of the videos and pictures on his phone. This video file depicting a prepubescent female resembling Blank laying next to Stephan in a bed watching cartoons. Stephan is asking Blank to put his penis in Blank's mouth for 3 seconds as he counts. He states Blank would not be able to play with the phone unless he did it. That there, prepubescent, does that mean this was probably like years ago, like not her now, since she's on her period, gone through puberty, more developed? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And this is another thing that some of those pictures, not the videos, pictures. There are an alarming number of pictures of Stephan doing things to Maddie, and the description of them is when the victim appears to be asleep.
Yes.
And I would encourage you guys to go over to Hidden True Crime and watch that live from Thursday because some of the things that Dr. John was saying in that live actually made me think of things quite a bit differently. I am not so sure that what happened was how do I put this, Allie? Because Allie and I talked about this.
Well, did they hear this interview when they did this live, by the way? The
No.
one- Okay.
No. No. So I don't it made me think that maybe Madeline was not killed because she resisted or because she may have been pregnant, or that Stephan was jealous because Maddie had been talking about having a crush on boys. I think it was something else. And I think if you go listen to that and you go listen to the things that Dr. John talks about with respect to SOs and their proclivities, etc., I think you will understand where I'm coming from. I can't really put it out on I'll try to think of a better, more clever way to put it.
He has not a
He has an
version.
affinity, a what?
I said not a version. That's the opposite.
Affinity
for potentially necrophilia type of that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm sitting in my car now because the wind got really bad and I was outside, and now my chair is like driving me crazy. So if y'all hear it, that's why. I'm sorry. I get moving around, but
so
yeah.
Joanna, for you to understand how first-degree premeditation works, under the law, there is no definitive time. So so Maddie's cause of death was strangulation. All right. So the way the law looks at it is at the very second that you put your hands around somebody's throat and you start to squeeze and you see that they're having trouble breathing and you don't stop, that's premeditation, because you knew when you put your hands around their throat that there was a chance they were going to die. It's no different than if you were arguing with somebody and you picked up a baseball bat, or even if you weren't arguing with somebody, even if you just picked up a baseball bat and knocked the crap out of somebody upside their head and they ended up dying, you can be charged with premeditated murder for that. There's no time period for premeditation. It doesn't have to be months. It can be seconds. It can be minutes.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is this case, it just hits me different in a way that Gannon's did, in a way the Watts case did, where I don't know. I want to know all the details, but it is probably one of the most horrific ones I've ever seen.
Really, Lil Red? That's interesting that you think that. Huh.
What'd she say? I'm on a different screen.
I feel like Dr. John did not have the entire story. Huh.
Well, I wonder I am curious if he would, I haven't listened to it yet. I've only talked to Jen about it, but I am curious, if this interview would change his thoughts at all, or was it mostly about Stephan?
It was the last little bit of the live, maybe 30 minutes, if that, 20 minutes, something like that, were about Jenn Soto.
Okay.
But a lot of it, I don't know if I don't know, ATS News, because, you guys could be right that he hasn't, he didn't give it. Oh, if he gave his opinion without this interview, I feel like he's missing part of the situation.
Well, I'm sure they'll talk about it again.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. It didn't change. It made me think about some things with Jennifer Soto, but it actually really opened my eyes more about Stephan Stearns, which is why I was watching. So I have to.
What did Amber say? Let's see. He's good. I like him, but I like that channel a lot, actually. Let me see here. I don't think he read through the documents. Interesting.
I think that he's being very careful when it comes to Jennifer Soto and what
A
he
lot
says.
of people are. A lot of channels are too. They're like, and I respect it. I get it. That's why when I came up here, I'm like, my opinion is my opinion, not Allie's, because it's tough. You have somebody who's not even charged with anything.
Right.
I'm an epitome of a person who's like, our constitutional rights are fundamental, and you're not even, you're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But then there's like people like Jenn Soto. And so that's why it's just my opinion. I think that she knew exactly what was going on. One of the things I had mentioned in chat was that I am of the belief that I think that she allowed Stephan to have a relationship, what a grown person would constitute a relationship with Madeline. I think it was set up. I think that everybody knew the situation, and I think that they were all on board with it.
Everybody like Jennifer and Maddie or Jennifer and Stephan, or are the roommates too?
No, not the roommates. I think the roommates are just oblivious to anything. They're just living their own life, renting a room from somebody,
Yeah.
Like just, go to their room, do, somewhere to sleep kind of thing.
Right. I think it's interesting that it seems like it's Jennifer's father that's in charge of finding the roommates. I think that's interesting because it feels to me like he doesn't trust Jennifer's judgment.
So Austin thinks the roommates are guilty too. I don't know enough about the roommates and their involvement in their, each other's lives, because it didn't seem to me from looking at the documents and stuff that these were a bunch of girlfriends who went and got a place together kind of thing.
Yeah, they were like strangers.
Yeah, so it's like that's like there's an ad in the paper, you rent a room and it's like you have a common kitchen maybe, or I don't know. So they very well could know something. I think it's weird that the room is upstairs where the other rooms are and they don't know anything about it. But if you're renting a room, I don't know how much you're paying attention to what's going on in the other rooms, but I don't know what they could or couldn't hear, which I don't want to go too far into that. But there's also, we know that she was being drugged. She was being drugged. Like she was being drugged up. So I don't know how much I'm not chuckling at that, but I'm just like, I don't know how much these roommates would have heard or had any idea what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe they do.
I'm kind of curious about that. I'm kind of curious if any of them were aware that Madeline and Stephan slept in the same room together it's okay. For me personally, it's icky for me to think that, I wouldn't let a man that wasn't my children's father sleep in a bed with my children, even if I was in it, period. That's just me. But I think it's the sleeping arrangements, the fact that Jennifer said, I need to get sleep, as if she's not on medication that makes her sleep to begin with.
Yeah.
First of all, let's start there.
Who cares about
that's really, and the fact that Jennifer's father is who owns that home and they all pay rent there. The fact, I wonder if he knew that Madeline didn't have a room with a door.
Well, he had to.
How?
Because if he knows how many rooms he's renting out, he knows that there's 4 rooms in this place, and he knows that he's renting it to 2 people who are paying him rent. And then he has his daughter in one room. He knows he's putting out an ad according to Jenn, right?
Right, but like, did he know that Madeline was sleeping essentially, like a cordoned off portion of like a dining room or whatever it was? Maybe he was under the assumption that Madeline had a bed in her mom's room. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, they just shared that room, maybe.
Right. I wonder.
Well, I know that one of the roommates said that she had saw them together alone in the room, and she asked Jenn, are you okay with it? And she said, yes, he would never hurt her or something like that. And then the other one also was asked about it, and I cannot remember what she said. I feel like she said no, she had never, maybe she had either never witnessed something or one time had seen them in there playing a game. Like, but no, they both, the one that did say something to Jen basically told her, it's fine. Don't like mind your own business, for lack of, that's not her words. That's my words. That's the way it seemed to me. Now I got a question though. If you think that everybody knew and that this, because Maddie's friend said that she talked to Stephan all the time. We hear in the interviews, police ask him about FaceTiming her late at night and stuff. But we know that in the beginning, it started when she was so young and he was forcing her, telling her she couldn't watch cartoons and stuff like that. So do you think that she was like kind of groomed into this
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
where she thought that she was potentially his girlfriend?
Yes, that's
Yes.
exactly what I think.
And I think she
And I
was
think that
also
Jennifer knew about it.
I think she was conflicted about it, because I think when she got older and she started going to school and meeting friends and being over at friends' houses and seeing how other people lived, I think that's when she started to realize. And I think that, bless her little sweetheart, because she couldn't completely process it, unfortunately, when that stuff happens, the victim is the one who feels the shame.
Yeah.
And I wonder if a lot of the reason that she didn't say anything, I'm sure he told her things. I'm sure he said to her, you know, this is your fault. You know, that you asked for this. You've been, you know how they.
I think her mom was telling her, this is what we're doing. This is how it is. And her mom's her person. That's the person she trusts.
It's just so sad. It just breaks my heart for her.
And I know,
Me
like
too.
I said, I know that we don't have any proof of any of that. Like, this is literally just my opinion and my theory. I just want to put that out there. This is my thoughts and how I feel about this situation. I think that she was groomed. I don't think there was a relationship between Jennifer Soto and Stephan Stearns beyond a weird, quote unquote, he was like my best friend. I think that she was willingly giving her daughter to him.
Well, I want to know more about some of these things today, like the I can't risk it. What the hell does that mean? And how could you not remember that?
Her some of her responses just make no effing sense. You know, like, what is it you couldn't? I mean, if you use the term "I couldn't risk it," right? That implies, well, what's there to risk? That something is risk implies a negative, something negative. There's a potential for a negative outcome, and you don't want to take the risk that something negative will happen. So it just makes you, this is why there's such a big question mark to me over how can we prove what she knew and when she knew it. Because I think that's where I'm at. I do think that she knew something. She obviously knew something was not right. Otherwise, why would she use that term? That term means something.
Yes, I agree. See, I've tried so much to be gentle with her, because if she didn't know, and many moms don't know, I've said this 1,000 times, so many people don't tell their moms. If she didn't know, this is already, she's living in hell right now. And if that was the case. And then I've went back and forth and I've thought, no, after the parents interview, she knew. Now I'm pissed at her. Then I go to reading more and she's all her medications, the X and her mental health issues. And then I think she's too concerned about herself and her mental health. Maybe she didn't know. Now again, after tonight's interview, I've changed my mind again, because there are so many red flags in that interview, and especially the like you said, risk what? That implies something bad could happen.
Correct.
What bad could happen with her sleeping with you? No, you should not risk her sleeping with a fucking grown man.
Right.
What about the comment about the sleepovers? Like, no. I know what can happen at sleepovers.
Yeah.
What are you talking
exactly. About? What can happen?
They're gonna go toilet papering and what? What's gonna happen? They're gonna ding dong bitch their neighbors. Like, what's gonna happen?
Right. What are you worried about that's going to happen? Let me tell you something. I've had sleepovers.
The friends that were there. She knew what
I've got girls. And you know what? When little Minnie Bendy had her first sleepover, do you know what my husband said? Our friends of our family were going out of town conveniently, and they needed dog sitters, which is what I usually do. but that weekend for a little mini bendy slumber party with 8 9-year-olds. This is why I don't act right, y'all. This is why I don't know how to behave. These kids have ruined me. 9-year-old girls. He's, over at our friend's house watching the dogs. He said, I don't want to be here if there's a slumber party. It's you.
Hey, Johnson.
It should be you and the girls. And that's what we did.
Joneson, you need to listen to this interview we play if you haven't heard it yet. That has came out in the last couple days because, oh my God, there's so many things in it. It's just something that following this, you do not want to miss it for sure. And I hope you're having fun in Aruba.
Aruba, Jamaica.
Ooh, I want to take you to Aruba. Bahama, come on, pretty mama. Key Largo, Montego, baby.
Baby, why don't we go down and Kokomo?
We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow.
Well, thank you guys.
That's where we wanna go.
Way down the Kokomo.
No, but thank you guys for real for trying to talk through this with me because it's so much. It really is. It's hard to take it all in and not kind of try. Like, I'm going to be thinking about this all night. I just know it all morning.
Me too.
It's so much. So
This is a consuming case, and it's very weird because most of the time we get consumed in cases where we're like trying to figure out an answer. And I guess maybe we are with Jennifer Soto, so maybe that's why it is. But like, you're trying to figure out like, how did it happen, or who really did it, or who's the culprit. And this is like, we know he's a piece of shit, and we know that he was a victim her entire life essentially, and we know that he did this. I mean, so it's like there's not really like a who done it. Maybe it is the question of like how involved she was, but it's an all encompassing. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
You know what?
yes, it is.
You know what I would like to see out of this case, honestly, is I would like for there to be a discussion on red flags and how can parents and grandparents and caregivers notice red flags, because not all kids, first of all, we've learned, I think, over the years of doing cases that kids don't tell. And I think that a lot of systems that should have been in place to help Maddie failed her. I think she was definitely, I have to agree with Dr. John. He said that Madeline was definitely, at the very least, exhibiting huge signs of depression. And it seemed like nobody did anything about it. But I think that she's so pretty. And who knows what she was going to see. And this is what really pisses me off when these monsters do this to children. It's because not only do they rob their families, right, of that child, but they rob the world of that child's potential. You never know what a child is going to do when they grow up and what they're going to bring to this world. And these monsters, and this is why I have such an issue with the way that our justice system in the United States treats these monsters, because there's not therapy or rehabilitation. They've talked about chemical castration, but that relies on the perpetrator to take their medication. They tried it on a case years and years ago.
I don't need chemicals.
Exactly. And in the late 80s, early 90s, I think it was in Arizona.
Let me in the room with him for a minute.
Yeah.
I say they just don't need to be around people, other human beings. They can still be productive members of society. There's all kinds of, roads need to be fixed, all kinds of things that need to be done. That would be, they can live on their own little island away from society where they can't hurt anybody, where they cannot hurt our children. Because the thing about this kind of crime is that, let's say he hadn't murdered Madeline.
I know.
He took something from her that is a life sentence. He did something to her that Madeline would have, if she had lived, she would have lived with her entire life. That's not to say that she couldn't go become a productive citizen and do wonderful things. But still she would always remember that trauma, and she would always have that and carry that with her, where, you know,
Well,
these
also,
monsters get a sentence, and whatever happens to them in prison happens to them in prison, and then they get out. That's the problem.
I
yeah,
feel
and then
so
they
bad
go
for
do
her
it again.
dad.
Oh, me
Yeah.
too. But then they get out and go do it again or do it
Correct.
worse. But
Correct.
that's why, which what you were saying just a second ago, you know, you would like to see some kind of conversation happen. I think because you had mentioned having Dr. B on to maybe talk about that because of her education and stuff. I think you should do that because when I watch this, there are so many times where I think, like, how did no one know? How did you not know? How did you see this and not know? How did you see that and not know? Like, you're missing school, you're getting D's and F, you're crying all the time. The drawings, not to mention there was a full-on drawing, which I haven't put on my channel, of sexual activity. Very detailed. You could see the damn veins in his privates.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
how do you not know? How are you that oblivious to what's going on? How
She's
are you
not
not going
oblivious.
through that
She's
stuff?
not oblivious. She was not oblivious. She knew everything that was happening. She condoned it. Now she's trying to fucking hide.
Well, I hope the police put every single bit of what happened together. And if that's the case, then I still think she needs charges, even if she, just because what happened is so serious. And look, Maddie lost her life. Like Jen said, she will never become a doctor, cure cancer. God knows what she could have done. Jen needs to pay at least some for her negligence, in my opinion. And that's just where I'm at right now. I've tried to keep it as fair as
Me
I can
too.
and be logical, but yeah, it's too much.
I tried to just take the wait and see approach. And I said, when Allie and I talked about this all those months ago when this first happened, I said, this is my opinion today. But as more stuff comes out, my opinion is subject to change. And my opinion has definitely changed.
Me too. Well, I guess I'll let you guys go because I've been on forever and you guys have been up here with me. Thank you so much for coming up. I
I
hope we
love
should.
you guys.
I love you, and can we do another one on another? Like, for one,
Yes, we need to do
Delphi.
something.
So
I
we've
would
got
love
this
for
crap ton of
Teresa to.
cases coming up here in October. We've got to do some recaps of what where we're at before we end up in trial. And October is a huge month
A
for trials.
huge month.
Well, I'm really interested in Delphi, and I know that you've been following every step of the way. Oh, let me ask you real quick. What about this? He's not allowed to have this defense about the Odinist and stuff. What do you think?
They need to ask for clarification on exactly what she means, but she's allowing them essentially to make offers to prove, which is where the jury is not going to be in the room. So it's everything that all the evidence that they have, or testimony that they would put on. She's going to let them do an offer to prove, so it goes on the record for the appellate courts, but she's not going to allow the jury to hear it. But that's not even the weirdest part. Like, there's really weird stuff. Like, so much of the state's evidence that they turned over in discovery, the state has now requested for the defense to not be able to use it.
What?
Like the geofencing, the original geofencing from 2017.
Wait a minute.
He put that in the motion in limine so that the defense can't use it, and then she approved it. Like, so
What?
it's not even, it's like, it's really weird.
Yeah, because usually it's the opposite, right? Usually what happens when we get to a point like this is the defense starts arguing for the
Yeah.
evidence that the state's going to put up, and they
Right.
don't want any of it in there. Like, they would start with a confession. Throw that right. We don't want that. We don't, you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's the opposite. So they
That's
also
so weird.
they don't want the defense to be able to say anything mean about the prosecution or how messy the discovery turnover was, or ask any questions that would put anybody, essentially, I'd have to read it to you, but essentially put anybody in a bad light in front of the jury, because there's so the first initial interviews that were all done at the Delphi Police Department are all gone. They got erased, so there's no interviews. They don't have a list of who they interviewed. they didn't keep a list. And then this new quote unquote DVR system that they had back in 2017, they just, it taped over all the beginning interviews for the case.
Oh
So they
my
lost it.
God.
They have other interviews where there's no audio because there was just some malfunction. So essentially,
Oh my
overall,
God.
there's 70 days worth of interviews that are just gone from the case.
Oh my God. So I feel so bad for Richard Allen. I'm sorry, but if you can't see this is not fair, I don't know if he's guilty or not, but at the end of the day, everyone deserves a fair trial.
That's where I'm at with it. I don't know
That's
if the
where
guy's
I am with
guilty.
it. I don't know what happened out there in those woods. I don't know who did it, but I want to hear about. I'm willing to take away, listen to the trial and see. But if they're
You can't
having
now. It doesn't even matter now because the jury isn't going to get to hear all the evidence that actually exists. So it's like, no matter what the outcome of it is we're still not going to get the right answer. We're not going to get to the damn truth of it.
no,
So there's approximately 60 plus confessions from when he was in prison of crazy things that he has said. We don't know. Nobody will tell us what was said, but we've heard a couple odds and end things, like he said that he shot the girls in the back, which we know isn't true. So people are the very pro Richard Allen is guilty people are very firm on the fact that there's a lot of these confessions, but some of them are quoted from both sides being generic, like they told me I confessed, which doesn't make any sense because I don't remember confessing. And so like they're counting things like as confessions, like because
that sounds familiar. I've been there.
we don't know what they say.
Yeah.
We don't know if they actually say anything. One of them, he says that he had a box cutter that was issued from CVS, which is where he worked. And that's how
Issued
he
from
unalived
CVS.
the
What did
girls.
he have? What is this, like Milton's stapler from
I-
Office Space? Give me
You
back
see
my
red
stapler.
You see my red stapler?
I could set this whole building on
Oh
fire.
my
I asked for
God,
no
though. How
fault. Give me back my stapler.
how is the community there not raging? How are people not? Because
Because
I watched.
there's people who think he's guilty, so it doesn't matter.
It does matter though. See, that's what upsets
Yes.
me, is that whether you think that he is guilty or you don't, or you think he's innocent, or you're somewhere or you're undecided. The fact of the matter is, in order for Abby and Libby to get justice, Richard Allen must have a fair trial. Period.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will always be up in the air. And if you don't think, I've been reading Terry Hobbs' book, the one that he wrote in my Patreon. And this last part that I read was actually kind of interesting to me, and it was unexpected because he does talk about the trials. And the way that he talks about the trials in this book is differently than the way I've ever heard him talk about the trials before. And there is room, and I never thought that I would hear this or read this from something that came from Terry Hobbs, but he does allow room for the fact that maybe they are innocent. Maybe somebody else did do this.
Well, isn't he the one that people think did it?
Yes.
So
why do you think? Yeah, but and at the time that he wrote this book, it was after all of that, right? So he's writing this book knowing that people have been pointing the finger. And I want you to know, your girl over here ain't never pointed a finger, because I feel like if I had done that, I would be no better than the people that pointed the finger at the West Memphis 3. Okay, but it's because I feel like it'd be hypocritical. However, I just never expected that to be in his book, for him to leave space or possibility. Correct. It shocked the shit out of me. I'm still shook about it.
So the other thing about Richard Allen is when the majority of these 60 plus confessions were happening, he had been diagnosed as being psychotics under psychosis, and they were involuntarily giving him Haldol.
Oh, Haldol is a strong medication.
And so the defense tried to get it so that the majority of these confessions should not have been allowed in. And she ruled, right before she ruled that they couldn't do third party, she ruled that all confessions will come in and the jury can hear all of them.
And let them make a decision.
And let them make the decision. So I'm like, okay, I get that. But then when she turns around and she says, well, you guys can't present, essentially there's no defense you can present unless it has to do with Richard Allen. that's all you can do. Like we're not going to allow you to bring anything about the investigation, essentially, or the
So
lack
you
thereof.
can't question the investigation. That's
You
essential.
can,
Okay.
you can, but you can't say anything bad about the people. Like he made he made like 4 comments about like they can't say anything mean about him. They can't say so part of these confessions go to what they call like companions, suicide companions that are other convicted felons.
Oh my God.
And so they put in there like you can't ask like about prior bad acts to the witnesses. So I'm like, how's that going to work? Like, so this felon takes the stand and you're not allowed to ask them what they were convicted for.
Right. But a jury needs to, okay. So when you're hearing somebody take a witness, that's a lay person, a regular person, you have to know what their credibility level is. And if there's somebody who is in prison because they are in prison, this is not guys chilling at the jail because Richard Allen is over there in the prison. He's even Chris Watts isn't even in big boy prison, and he's been convicted. He pled. Like, let's think about that. But anyway, I can't believe they're not allowing testimony or questions about why are you in prison, and so
that's why I think
why are you
they need a clarifying order of like, you're saying we're not allowed to ever bring this up, because her order is just I approve or I grant the state's motion in limine 1 through 6, and then I grant the state's motion in limine 8 through 12 or whatever it was, and then with number 7, which is the third party defense, I don't believe that the defense was able to create enough of a quote unquote nexus connecting these people to the murders, so I don't allow that. So it needs to be like, in my opinion, I think they need to get like a clarification. Like, so you're saying this will never be brought up, like nobody's going to be able to talk about this. We're not like, unless maybe they already. So there was a closed hearing that took place right before her rulings came out. So unless there was some discussion in there already where they know where this is going, I don't. It just is. It's very confusing that you can just say to somebody you can't have a defense, but her way around it constitutionally is to allow them to do the offer to prove, even though the jury won't hear it.
Right.
So a lot of attorneys, like on, how we have like LawTube essentially. A lot of attorneys are essentially saying that this is now going to be a practice trial, because she's, obviously if you're convicted of murder, you have the right to an appeal, but that doesn't mean the appellate judge is going to, see your case.
Right.
But they're saying that she's essentially securing him an actual appellate trial.
Right.
That's years down the road. It's like, does that do anybody any good? And now we're putting the families back through it over and over and over again. So I'm like, people who are so pro-family, I don't get how they think this is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, you're supposed to be pro-family. Like, how do you guys not see that the families are going to have to do this over and over and over again for the rest of their lives without getting get the damn truth out there the first time, and let's go.
Exactly. And that was my point about the whole thing with Terry Hobbs is the things that they were told. Then when they get to trial and they hear something else, it is confusing for family members. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it does, when this kind of situation occurs, it does deeply, deeply impact the family, because at the end of the day, the family wants justice for their loved one.
Yeah. Well, even like we talked about when Chad Doerman, pled guilty, we were like, thank God, because the family didn't want to go through that. But I don't know. It's awful. But I do want to say really quick. So I had mentioned, well, how are people not outraged? And Natasha had said, people, trust me, some people are. And then Mayla's mom said, yes, me and my husband are as well. But so I had watched a recent, like the local news, and it just, their attitude was almost like they were so sure that I don't know, like it was not like that. So that's just why I said that. I hope that some of the citizens are, because I think that there should be. It's not fair. It's very obviously not fair what's going on here. And like Wicked West said, if it was your loved one, think about that. If this was what they were going through, like facing trial. And it's not fair to the families either. Like you guys say, they're probably on. I mean, can you imagine what they must think if they're following so closely and they're hearing all this? And then, I don't know. I don't know. It's a mess.
It's all fucked up.
Yep.
Oh, you guys, I got this melon. Okay, well, today we went to the World Market, and it's like all these different stores from all over the world. And I
Did
got
they
this.
have tamales?
No, they didn't,
Son
but
of a bitch.
they did have a ton of like Spanish meat with it, and like fish and stuff like sardines or I don't know, some kind of stuff like that.
I don't
But
eat that kind of stuff.
from Japan, they had this melon creamy soda, and it's the green melon. Which one is that? That's honeydew, right?
Honeydew, yeah.
Yeah. And oh my God, it's so good. It tastes like
I
a cream
swear,
soda, but
I
with
swear to God, Allie will take a risk on a drink. She is the one, like, I know the kind of, I won't. I'm not like, I don't take risks on drinks. I know what I like and I get what I like, the end. But Allie will tell me all the time, oh my God, Jen, I went to this store and I found this, or I was online and this drink. And it sounds like the name of it sounds disgusting. But then when Allie tells you about it, you almost, you want to try it, except for I have a policy about I don't.
You
oh
need
my
somebody
God, it's
else
so
to
good.
get it, and then you'll try theirs to see if it's any.
Yes, exactly.
I
Exactly.
tried it's Pepsi pineapple.
Ooh.
What?
And I don't like Pepsi. So
What?
this was an intriguing. I don't like Pepsi. I'm a Coke girl. Like yeah, I don't do Pepsi.
I like both.
And it's really weird because my husband's a Pepsi guy. He likes Pepsi. I
Your
like
husband
Coke.
sounds like a fucking genius.
Yeah, he would agree with you.
I love Pepsi, but I will drink Coke.
So I tried Pepsi pineapple because I kept seeing commercials for it all over the place, and so I was like, all right, I've got to just. And I love pineapple, so I'm like, I'm gonna try it.
Me
And
too.
so
I love
got
pineapple.
I got one and I split it with him. He was like, this is the grossest thing ever, and I loved it.
What?
Yep.
Where can
I
I get
think
this?
I would love it.
Me
It's
too.
only Little Caesars pizza. I don't know if you guys have Little Caesars
Oh,
pizza.
yeah, we have Little Caesars.
We did
That's
in West
the only place it
Virginia,
was.
not here.
Yeah, it was a Little Caesars
I'll find
pizza.
it. Remember how I had to
I don't even
track
like
down
their
those?
pizza.
Go ahead. Sorry, Teresa.
I don't even
I'll
like
find
their
it.
pizza. I went in there and got myself a Pepsi.
Well, listen, if we can get it, Allie, I will find it. Remember how I had to track down the pink lemonade Snapple?
Yes.
Sure did. I sure did track that stuff down.
I would
Mhm.
I
show you
haven't
all
had a
this drink.
Snapple in years.
Okay, but okay, Teresa, but
Strawberry
they
kiwi Snapple was like the best.
okay. I like the pink lemonade Snapple.
Melon creamy soda.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
it's in like this like tin like thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is it like a watermelon cream soda?
No, it's like a cream soda with like the cantaloupe melon or honeydew.
Oh.
I don't know.
Honeydew.
It's one.
Not
Yeah,
watermelon, honeydew.
I do it every time. I confuse the two,
Honey,
but yes.
honeydew.
Oh
Cantaloupe.
my
You guys don't call cantaloupe muskmelon?
No.
No, it's cantaloupe. What
Is
do you
anybody
think?
here from the Midwest? Do I have any Midwesterners that are going to back me up on that it's a muskmelon? A cantaloupe is a muskmelon. The green one is the honeydew.
Huh. No, I've never heard that. Artificially flavored, Allie. What am I going to do with you? Hey, it's from Japan, though. And it's super cool, but it is artificially flavored. Tastes like it's not.
I need
Oh
to try.
my God.
Now I'm very curious about that dadgum Pepsi pineapple.
Yeah, try it.
Is it like Pepsi with a pineapple flavor? Like, how does it?
It is.
Do you
It
guys
has
like
it has. So it's like do you ever drink RC?
Yes.
Okay, so it has more of an RC flavor to it versus a Pepsi flavor.
Okay. See, because I think RC cola tastes like if you put Pepsi and Coke together. To me, that's what it tastes like.
I love RC in a glass on ice, and like RC is so hard to find here, it's ridiculous.
Huh.
Okay, Wicked West says they're from Illinois and they've never heard it called a muskmelon.
But Girls Nana did.
Girls Nana says I call it that. It's a muskmelon.
Yeah, she was
muskmelon right there. Natasha said I've heard muskmelon.
I've never heard that, but I've only ever lived in Arizona, Texas, and now Florida. So,
Claus, are you still drinking the strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper? Those are really good too. They are very. You can really taste the flavors.
The Dr. Pepper cream soda.
Okay, Mayla's mom, I'll check
Those
it
are
out,
good.
babe. Thank you for the heads up.
All right. Well, Teresa, you need to give us the rundown one night on a panel about Delphi. Jen, I know, is knee deep in Sarah Boone in that trial. We could talk about that sometime, but we need to do it again.
Yeah,
We
we
need to do
do.
Leilani Simon because she's coming up. So
Who?
Oh my gosh.
Leilani Simon, I'm putting together a
Oh
whole,
yeah. Oh
You're
yeah.
putting
She's
together a
next.
what?
just a whole little like presentation-y thing to kind of go over for people who don't know anything about Quentin
Yes.
Simon's case, kind
Like
of going
your
over
other
like all the
ones.
old, all like kind of like that,
I
just
love
like a
that.
I
pre-trial.
love that. I love that you do that. I
Me
just
too.
jumped feet first in. Hey, this bitch is on trial. We finna watch y'all. That's my presentation.
Well, you know that
we hate her.
Claus is going. She's been going to all the
Who
hearings.
is?
Claus.
Carol Claus.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
she's been at all the hearings too.
She's
Wonder if
been
she'll
on.
come on and tell us about it.
She's our in court correspondent. Mhm.
Yeah.
On the scene
Maybe-
correspondent. Mhm.
Claus, are you here? Will you consider coming on and doing a live with me sometime while the trial's going on?
Yes.
Ooh, that would be fantastic.
Yes, do it. I bet you she would because it's very important to her, you know, and it's important to me too. It's important to all of us. But
Yeah.
I know that she's gonna try to. Yes, you know it, Alex. That's so awesome. But yeah, she's like she gave us the rundown on one of the hearings a couple months ago when there was some in every hearing. There's been a little bit more released. If you,
Mhm.
yeah, so she's been
You
giving
need
us
to
the
add that to your name. Sexy Wild Thing McLevin, freaking babyface Claus. You need to take
Yay.
some of that out and put, courtroom correspondent in there. Add that
Yeah.
to your.
She's gonna come on
your
with you,
name.
Teresa. That'll be awesome.
Oh, that would
Perfect.
be
We'll
amazing.
do a big thing then. We can go over like the trial stuff. So I know that's a case that we all kind of followed. So that'll be a good one too. And then I'm trying to think who else was coming up because I know there's more October ones. You got Boone, you've got Delphi, you've got Quentin Simon.
Yep. Who else starts in October?
I just did my list. I should know this, but I don't for whatever reason know.
But where's your list? Get it.
I'm gonna go grab it.
Because there are a bunch.
Yep, there are for sure. Oh, sorry.
Courtney Clenny, isn't she coming up?
No, because they keep postponing her stuff. I don't know if you guys followed this James Craig out of Colorado. He was the dentist. Do you guys remember that one?
Yes, I've seen that. I didn't
Oh,
follow
yeah.
it close, but I know what you're talking about.
He's
Yeah.
supposed to have something going on in October. Brian Walsh has a hearing in October. Adam, Madeline Kingsbury, October 7th is his trial. Not going to be televised.
Ugh.
They're not going to let cameras in the dang courtroom. Do you guys follow Crystal Rogers?
Yes.
She's been missing. They
Yes.
arrested her ex and a couple of his buddies. Then her dad was killed right when they were searching for her. I don't know if you guys are too familiar with that. They have hearings in October. Let me see.
Megan Boswell's next year, right? 2025.
February 3rd, 2025.
Oh
currently,
my
yeah.
God, I've been waiting on that since that happened. And yes, Claus, I do remember that now that that's one of the things that I was thinking, the journals.
Mhm.
But yes, Megan Boswell. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. Is that really happening in February?
Yes.
Thank God.
As of right now, it's still scheduled for February.
Mhm.
Who's brought up Alexi Treviso? This is interesting. She was actually supposed to go to trial in August, and her trial was removed from the docket, and her pre-trial hearings were removed from the docket.
Yeah.
They're gone. There's no updates. I cannot find. If you guys find an update, please let me know because I was doing all my updates on my trial watch, and her stuff is just gone.
Something I had seen something that had happened, and now I can't remember, so I don't even know why I bothered to mention it because I don't even know what
Because
happened.
you saw something. We need to know that you saw it.
I saw it.
Yep.
Something happened. There's some kind of loophole.
They
Something.
can't figure out what's going to happen with the evidence. What evidence they're going to allow in and what they're not going to allow in. So that's what so essentially everything is just on hold and she's just out at college living her life.
Right. And and they are also at the same time, her family and her, aren't they suing the hospital?
I don't know that part.
Yes, they are. They're suing the hospital, claiming it was the hospital's negligence that caused the baby to die. That if
her mom is a fucking piece of work.
Right. That if they had been paying attention, she came in there with stomach problems or back problems, whatever it was. Now I can't remember. But if they had been paying
attention.
Yes. if they had been paying attention, that it's medical negligence. That's what they're
The
suing.
fucking
Yep.
nerve of that woman.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yep.
has a shrine up in her house with all the baby stuff.
Oh my God.
Oh
I
my
can't believe
God.
she's just, I didn't know, I knew about the hospital, her suing the hospital. I did not know she was just out free living
Yeah, she's
her
in
life.
college.
It shocks me that these girls can hide this kinds of things from their mother. I'm going to tell you right now, my mom there's no way I would have been able to hide a pregnancy from her. And my girls, I don't think they would be able to, I don't think they would do it, but if they tried, I don't think they would be able to get away with it because, first of all, living under my roof, I'm the one that's in charge of buying the girly things, right? And I would notice
Oh,
if
Jennifer
they
Soto
weren't getting
doesn't
bought.
notice.
I would notice if they weren't getting used, because I was always the one in charge. Yeah,
So
so
there's
I
a
would
trial.
notice.
There's a trial that starts this week. Her name is Lori Shaver. It's not a very popular case, but it's very interesting to me. So her husband was killed like almost 10 years ago, and he went missing about 10 years ago, and they said that she just said like he just up and left them, and they didn't know where he went, and she had buried him under their fire pit patio area in the backyard, and then about a year ago, the daughter, who is now a teenager, who was 7 at the time, came forward and said that she's actually the one who killed her dad because he was abusive, and that the mom helped cover it up. But the judge won't let that confession come in, and so her trial starts this coming week. Lori Shaver.
I know. Yeah, I know that case. I'm shocked that not really. Like, I can see why the judge is not going to let that come in because a 7-year-old most likely would not get charged as an adult. I mean, they could in theory, right? But they probably wouldn't. And there are many states that, let's say, so she would be charged even though she's an adult now. The sentence would be for how old she was at the time of the crime. So, yeah, that's probably why they won't let that come in.
So it's just good. I think it'll just be an interesting case, only because I mean they just went out there and hung out on their patio, knowing that he was he was right there,
right, just buried in the yard.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. I actually already pulled it up on my other window and my phone.
Take a look at
it says
I
that
love trials.
Inside Edition just did an article like yesterday, Court TV a couple days ago, something like that. So I'm gonna go listen to those or watch those or read them, whatever it is. I think.
It'll be interesting. You should cover that one. I think that's just it's just it probably won't be a super long trial, but it'll be just one that'll be quick and interesting to hear the details and learn more about law.
Don't we have something coming up with Mullins too, Todd? Our friend Todd Mullins.
So Todd he'll have a post-conviction trial.
Or did I cut out?
Did I cut out?
Nobody cut out. I can hear all three I can hear both of you.
Okay. So so he has his post-conviction trial that they are going to move forward with. And I think it's, what did we say? I sent it to you. I think it was February.
Yes, February
2025, which is the same time as Boswell.
I'll be keeping my ojos on that one.
Yeah. And then Corey Richins, you guys know her. She's the one that Allie did lose audio. She can't hear us, I guess.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can hear you now. No,
here she comes.
I came back.
I can hear you now.
Ago, but could you hear me when Jen cut off? Okay. Yeah, I can hear.
So Corey Richins is the one who killed her husband with fentanyl, and now is saying that she didn't, and
wrote a book, wrote a children's book about it to help children learn to grieve.
Her prelim is coming up soon. Her preliminary trial's coming up soon. Or did we just have it? I don't know. It's like it was
no,
right around.
We just had it.
It was right around right now. Yeah. So yeah, I think she's guilty. I do as well. Now, I want to tell you guys, Sarah Boone's attorney gave another, you guys have probably seen it, but he went on with Vinnie Politan. And I have yet to watch that one because the night that I was live is the night that he went on with Vinnie Politan. And,
I don't want to take any of Vinny's views. You know, I'm very magnanimous that way. No, but I wanted a chance to watch what he had to say because I think I was not pleased with his comments respective to George and saying that the Torres brothers were violent towards their women because of what George's brother is currently being charged with and is accused of. I didn't think it was right to do that. And so I'm kind of curious what he says on Vinny. I haven't watched that. And I also want to do something of what happened with Lori the other day, her hearing.
Yep.
And Chad and and Allie sent me something that is pretty interesting that I want to talk to you guys about. But
and with Lori, who's got immunity in the other case? We found that out. What the heck is that? What's that about? Who do you think has it? Sorry to cut you off, but I don't want to. I want to just ask you and then.
Probably.
We all assumed Melanie did.
Yeah, I think it's Melanie G.
They said multiple.
Let me think about it. Let me rehear that part too.
Okay, and I'm sorry.
So
Yeah,
I pulled up her hearing, but I haven't watched her hearing yet, so I got to watch that still. Are you talking about did that come out at this last hearing?
Yes.
So
yeah, I haven't watched that.
The lawyer, which Jen's going to go over it too, but
Zulema has immunity.
Oh, that's right.
Mama Bear, thank you.
The lawyer said, I haven't gotten the stuff on the immunity deals or whatever. And Arizona said, we don't have any deals with immunity. And he said multiple immunity deals, several of them. And then the lady responded, the prosecutor, and she said, we haven't made any deals. Like, we can't help that. That's
my God.
Because there were immunity in the kids' case, not in this case.
Exactly. Yes. And we all see, we were all wondering about what happened with the Melanies and Zulema and David Warwick.
Yep.
And because some of the things that they set up on that stand, like, just gave me a buttload of pause. I was like, listen, I've been side-eyeing Melanie G for the longest. Y'all know I'm not a fan of Melanie shebangs. Okay. But because I think she, anywho, and we couldn't figure it out.
Yep. So multiple people. And I wonder if that was ever supposed to come out.
The attorney did, Lisa, not Vinny. The attorney made a comment saying that George and he said the Torres brothers were violent to their women. That the attorney said that, not Vinny. Not Vinny. I don't think Vinny would say something like that. Sorry, Allie.
Mayla's mom. No, that's okay. But Mayla's mom asked about Kimberly. What's her name? Singler, the mom who ran the Colorado mom, went to the UK and she's being extradited back, I guess. Do you guys know anything about that?
I haven't haven't heard anything after all that.
It sounds familiar. Hold on, let me see what I can find real quick.
Yeah, she spells it Lee, I think.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing
she was arrested at the end of last year. Oh, I know. Yes, I remember her face now. Yes. She's the one who said that somebody broke in? Is that one?
I don't think so. I don't remember that.
Has she been extradited? I would think she was arrested in the UK. She's probably back in Colorado now, no?
You would think. I need to understand, Jay Warren, how the attorney, Mr. Owen said this. I'm a retained attorney. Sarah owes me. Okay, Sarah is over here like Craig from Friday. Ain't got no job and ain't got shit to do. So how is she gonna? Was she just gonna owe you until the end of time? Even what did you tell her that? I mean, come on, man.
Okay, so Mayla's mom sent me an article, but I can't read it. It cuts me off. And B Crumbs sent me something too. So, but I can't read directly from it. But apparently, she had 3 kids, I believe. 2 of them, age 7 and 9. She drugged them, then told them to close their eyes, and then shot and stabbed them. Then she ran to the UK, and she was arrested just a few days later. She's still there. They do have a extradition hearing happening, but it's been delayed, and I don't know why yet. I didn't get that far, but
It's a
I'm
different,
gonna add her to
whole
my list.
different process over in England.
she's
I'll add her to
still
my list so that way I can continue to follow.
Yeah.
Put her on the list, T.
Putting her on the list, Miss Singler.
That's how you get on the list. Congratulations.
Do
Now
it.
you own it.
Kimberly.
Mm.
Any
Yeah.
other ones that we need to add to the list?
Awful, Natasha. Absolutely freaking awful. Oh,
Chad Daybell has some stuff going on in his appeals, but let me just,
He's lame.
we'll talk about that later.
What about his house? It was bought by like a nonprofit.
Well, I was going to talk about that at some point.
Sorry.
Allie, no, babe. It's something about that. Yeah, Allie sent me some stuff, and it's quite interesting. Don't say sorry. Come
no,
on
but
now.
I know that some people aren't happy about it. Colby did a podcast, and he's like, I don't think he's very happy about it. He says it's just going to be hurtful. So I don't know. I listened to it, but I don't think I retained it or finished it all. So
Yeah, and also the other thing, I think I'm just going to do like a whole. I don't really like to call Lori Vallow. She doesn't want to be called Lori Vallow, and I don't think the Vallows want her to be called Lori Vallow. So I just call them the Daybells. But
I call her Vallow just because she doesn't want to be a Vallow.
I thought about being petty like that, and for a while I was, but then I didn't consider how the Vallow family might feel about that pettiness, how that might. So then I was like, let me just enter. Sometimes I'll call her Daybell. Sometimes I call her Vallow. Sometimes I call her Vallow Daybell.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes I call her the Cowardly Lion, because remember that after she got convicted, how she had her hair did. She looked just like the Cowardly Lion after he came out of the salon in Oz,
Yes, she did.
But Colby did a review of that call that they had.
Yeah.
And I'm I want to hear that.
Yeah. I like his new podcast. It's called Scar Wars.
I like it too. I thought it was quite clever.
Yeah.
I'm a Colby fan. I know a lot of people don't like him, but
I like him too.
I do too.
I do too. Oh, thank you, Neat, for gifting and welcome. Thank you. All right, you guys, I'm gonna let you go, but I do think we should.
You keep trying to do that, we won't leave. So I don't know
why.
why.
We won't leave. Like, kick us out, Allie.
I won't leave either, but now I'm at the point I really have to go pee. So I'm like, all right, this is it. We gotta go.
All right, fine.
Now her back teeth are
We'll let
floating.
you go.
We're done. All right.
All right, love you guys.
For coming up.
Love
I
you
love
too.
you. Have a good night. You guys make
Bye.
sure to subscribe to their channels. I'm gonna drop them in the chat one more time, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.
Bye.